Ladies and gentlemen, we are here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we are thrilled to have with us the legendary Mr. Hughes. Mr. Hughes, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Well, great to be with you, man. I tell you, I look forward to doing a lot of these and talking, letting folks know, the fans know about my career and what I've done and all the good things I've done and all the people I've trained and wrestled, the whole 9 yards. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. And just before you got in here, we were doing some research about your school that's right down the street here in Atlanta. Can you tell us about your operation and how long you've been doing this?
Well, before I got to this place, I was at another spot, which was WWA 4, which I built. And I produced a lot of stars out of there. You probably, know a whole bunch of them, from Heath Slater to Apollo Crews to A.R. Fox to Moose, Jonathan Gresham, Kiera Hogan. I can go on down the line of all these people that I trained that I told you earlier behind a strip club in the back of a club wax building. That's where the first school was that I built from the ground. There was no students there when I first started, and Rocky King, he ain't with us no more, but he reached out to me years ago that this old timer by the name of Frank Aldrich, he was looking for a new trainer at WWA 4. The old trainer had left and took his trainees with him. So there was no students there. And so he calls me and says, "Hey, Cat," call me Big Cat. That's my old wrestling name from WCW days and AWA days. And he goes, "I know this old guy, man. He looking for somebody to, be a trainer at his school. You interested?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I'm interested." And so we got together and talked a little bit. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted to train people. And my whole objective was, I wanted to see my students on TV. I wanted to see my trainees on television one day and being successful like I was and signing contracts and making money and making a living and seeing the world, seeing the country. And so when we decided on, what I was going to do, he asked me what I needed, at the school to get this place off the ground. And I was like, first of all, I'm going to need a WWE size ring, because he already had like 4 or 5 rings already. But the main ring I wanted to train the students in is the WWF ring, because that was the goal that I wanted my students to go, you understand? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need a camera and stuff like that, because once we get them trained, we're gonna put them on YouTube and get a show, and start doing shows every Thursday. And he did that. And long story short, I started producing stars out of that school behind the strip club. Now, fast forward here up to the present, I had trained at that school for at least 16 years. And the old timer was wanting to retire. He had enough. He was done. And so he sold me the school for $1, because he was trying to sell it, but nobody was buying it. So he's like, "I'll just sell it to you for $1. I was like, "Yeah, shit. Yeah." We signed the contract and I owned it, but I wanted to break too, because I had been doing it, behind that strip club for 17 years, man. I needed to break too. So one day, A.R. Fox had asked me over to have Thanksgiving dinner with his wife and her family. And I was like, well, shoot, let me just ask him if he want to run it for a while, And so I said, "Hey, Amp," because I call him Amplifier. That was his old name. And I said, "Amp, you want to take over the school for a while, man? I need a break, bro. I've been doing this for a long time." He goes, "Yeah, Mr. Hughes, I'll do it." And so I had gave it to him, and he's been running it ever since. But I just decided to start from scratch again. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to change the name. That's where you see Total Protection Pro Wrestling Academy. So I wanted to change the name and start off fresh. So now we're out in McDonough, Georgia. Been out there going on 7 months. And we do shows every Thursday out there, and we're building it up with students. We got good quality students. We had our first student graduate. Now he's doing shows already. It don't take me long to train, because I've been doing it so long. The thing about wrestling and training people, man, it took it took me a couple years to figure it out. Even though I, had all the knowledge and the wisdom to teach, I had to learn how to, what kind of curriculum I was going to put together. And my whole curriculum thing was old school style. That's what got me my career rolling, and I wanted to teach new up and coming young people the old school style of professional wrestling. That's what got the fans coming. See, that old school stuff, not this old flipping and flopping garbage. I mean, that's just me. I'm old timer. I'm old school, and it'll always be old school that got us to this point, right? And so that's the way I train. I mean, I train psychology, working holds, countering holds, telling a story, coming up with characters and gimmicks and everything else, you see, which is very important in the world of professional wrestling that a lot of so-called trainers don't know how to do. And, and my thing is, I got a slew of former trainees. Mind if I put that in there and hold it up for a second? I just want to show the people out there, if you've never seen my flyer on my Instagram or my Facebook page, you can see all the trainees that I've trained. There's a lot of names you probably didn't realize that Mr. Hughes trained all these people. From the top, you got Antoine Brewer. He's in the WWF. He's a referee. You got A.R. Fox in AEW. You got Apollo Crews. You got Moose. You got Heath Slater. I mean, there's just a slew of trainees that I've trained, and I'm proud that I've trained them. And my whole goal is to help young people make it in the world of professional wrestling and experience the good life, of performing in a 20,000 seater, man, sold out, I mean, my days, going with the Undertaker and working Bret Hart and all these stars I can just throw at you. It was a dream come true for me, you understand? And so I like to carry and give some of this back to the business, man. My whole thing is giving back to the business before it dies, because a lot of people click off of it now because it's not, they call it not the same. And when I hear people say wrestling's not the same, it kind of gets up under my skin a little bit. And that kind of makes me hungrier to train more and get the school over more and get more students to teach them the ropes, man, because this new generation of athletes and wrestlers coming up, man, if they're not taught right by old timers like me, the wrestling business is gonna die, you see. And so, I didn't mean to go off on way back when I first started, but I just wanted to let the fans know the genesis of my training career. I mean, a lot of people know who Mr. Hughes is and who Big Cat was, and my AWA days and NWA days, the genesis of my career. And, it's going on like, almost 35 years, going almost 40, you understand? And it's been great, like I said, we've been at my new school going on 7, 8 months, and it's growing, and get more students join all the time. And we do shows like, we do them like once a month because we're just starting. And eventually we're going to start doing them every Thursday. But that's how we used to do it at the other place. That's why a lot of these students, these former trainees of mine, were so good, because we train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we do shows on Thursday. So, and on top of that, they couldn't do shows outside the school until they graduated. What I mean by graduated is, that's why we call it academy, because if you're going to sign up and go to my school, okay, we do it right. We don't just take your money and show you a few things and say, good luck, have a good career. I don't roll that way. My whole objective is to see you on television, to see you on that square circle in front of 20,000 people, experiencing the career that I explained to you riding down the highway, because I take all my students on the road with me. When I get booked, I get them booked, teaching them ropes, see? You got to teach these young people the game of professional wrestling so they don't get lost in the shuffle. Because a lot of people, they so-called have wrestling schools, but they're not teaching them everything they need to know to equip them to survive out there, man, because this wrestling business is cutthroat, man. And a lot of them don't tell them the truth about it, you understand? And I tell them the truth about people can stab you in the back. They don't, they're trying to get up hand on you, trying to get over so they can get over. You understand? So their career can take off. And so I teach them to watch out for that kind of stuff. You see. But yeah, I mean, it's great to be here, and I just wanted to give you a little taste of what's to come here in a few minutes.
Could you expand too about the teachings that you give your students? Because it seems like in the last 20 or so years, the business kind of evolved and changed. A lot of people that are coming into it, they like the high spots. They want to do a lot of the stuff that they see on TV now. What are the fundamentals that would actually get them signed versus the flashy stuff that they see?
Well, like, when students come to my place and inquire about Total Protection Pro Wrestling Academy, I sit down and explain to them what you're going to get. Okay, you're not just going to get this, that, and the other. You're going to learn the fundamentals of professional wrestling, the history of professional wrestling, why you work a certain hold, why you got to work certain holds, why we teach you how to work certain holds and how to work the fans and facial expressions, everything. Because people just show you stuff. Now, they don't just get in there and explain, your face got to look like this, and you got to expressions like this, and you got to work it like this, and you got to work the crowd, and when you're selling, you got to sell to the people, stuff like that. The most important thing that you have to teach young people today is psychology. That's the most important thing about wrestling. You can teach them anything you want, but if you don't teach them psychology, the most important thing is about psychology. And you can't just show them a hold and not explain to them why you got to do a hold a certain way. For example, like when I teach the headlock, okay? When I teach the headlock, everything's in detail, man. I mean, and I explain to them that a headlock, that's why you have to learn history of professional wrestling. A headlock is a finish. A finish, it's the conclusion of the match, if y'all don't know what a finish is, but a headlock is a finish. And so when I'm teaching the headlock, I'm explaining to them the reason why you have to apply it a certain way. I'll say left leg back, right nipple, and you stay on the nipple. And some people, they just got it on, okay? And they think you just put a person in the headlock, just put a spot together, but it don't work like that. And if you apply the headlock like I'm explaining, and when I teach it, I explain it so when the people watching it, they'll believe what they're seeing. And that's the thing about psychology. The people have to believe what they're seeing. If they're not believing what they're seeing, then they're going to click off and say, I ain't watching this garbage. And that's why a lot of people don't watch it no more, because a lot of these young people today, so-called got trained, and then they go up to the big time and they don't know what they're doing, okay? But at PWA, we teach you the fundamentals so you can get to the big time, so you can get to WWE, AEW, and all those other companies out there that young people are trying to get to. Because without you learning how to be a good performer in that ring and learning the fundamentals, the foundation of wrestling, you ain't gonna make it far. And that's what I was talking about the fundamentals. You got to teach them from the ground here. You got to teach them how to lock up. Like for example, certain people lock up. They teach a certain way to lock up. I teach the way that the old timers used to do it, to where you can communicate together without people seeing you talking, see? And that's where we got away from, see? A lot of people just lock up and just do stuff. And that's why a lot of fans don't pay attention. They don't watch it no more. But at PWA, we teach you all that stuff. We teach you from how to lock up properly, how to do headlocks properly, take bumps properly, hit the ropes properly. Everything's proper. You understand? So when people do watch you, they're going to pay attention to you because they're going to see, damn, that's a good wrestler. And that's the key if you're trying to make it. Like you see that flyer I showed you earlier, it's got all these stars on it. And the reason why all those stars are on this flyer is because they got taught properly. They got taught the fundamentals. They got taught psychology. Behind a strip club, by the way, we're all blessed. You understand? But that's the reason why they made it. Because they came, they learned, they were hungry. And at our school, man, you have to write, you got to have a notebook. It's academy, okay? You don't have too many wrestling schools out there today that call themselves academy. They just say wrestling school, okay? And the difference between us and somebody else is when you come and join this school, PWA, you got to bring your notebook every day. You're going to have to write everything down I teach you, because when it goes from here to paper, you're going to remember everything. And that's the key to being a good performer out there. You're going to remember everything, because I teach you individual things, right? Individual things. And then once you get enough of these individual things taught, then I start putting everything together. You know, like for example, I'll show you an individual standing arm drag, or go to lock up, duck, gotta go by the hammerlock, or standing drop toe hold, or, you know, all these individual holds and counters and things. And then once I show you enough of them, then we start putting them all together. Go to lock up, duck, gotta go by the hammerlock, schoolboy, 1, 2, go for the punch, drop toe hold, headlock. So all those were individual things, but once you start learning a whole bunch of them, then I start putting them all together so you can see how wrestling starts to come into play, see? And that's the fun part when these young people start seeing that they're becoming a wrestler. That's the exciting part, see? Because on day one, you know, you start out, we teach you how to hit the ropes first. Properly hit the ropes. You know, maybe if you learn the ropes pretty fast, if you're a fast learner, then you'll learn more stuff that day. And then every day you come in, you start from the beginning and work our way on up. Then the next day you come in, we start from the beginning and work your way on up. So by the time the week is over, you're going to have quite a few things in your notebook that you learned, okay? And that's the reason why I can train so fast. And of course, I have my assistant over here, Odell. He helps me. He's my right-hand guy. He's number 2 guy in the school. He's the one that helps me train. You know, I am a 60-year-old guy, so I can't do what I used to do with these guys, these young people I trained at WWE for. Because I was in there doing everything because I was young. You understand? I could get in there and take back drops and hip tosses and do drop kicks and everything. Flying elbow drops, you know, flying cross, everything. I used to do everything. But professional wrestling is kind of for young people, okay? You know, when you start getting 55 and 60, you really can't get in there and do it because the fire's gone, basically. The character's still there, but I can't get in there and be physical like Mr. Hughes used to be. You know, if you ever watched, I'm pretty sure people out there watch me on videos back when I was a big old guy and weighed 340, 60 pounds maybe. You know, I got up there about 370, I think, most I ever got. But I was athletic because I played football, you know. And I was an athlete and ran track and wrestled in high school and junior high. So I was an athlete already, but now that I'm older now, got that wisdom for knowledge of professional wrestling that I give it to other people. Like I train other people to train other people. Like A.R. Fox, he's like I told you earlier, he's over at the old WWA4 where I used to be, that I built. He's training over there. Jonathan Gresham, he's training people at another spot, okay? So even though I'm a wrestler and I train people, I'm a trainer of champions too. And I train trainers, you see? And I'm training him to be a good teacher. Long after I'm gone, he can keep the school going the whole 9 yards. But I'm teaching him, Odell here, how to train people properly, the way I trained him, the way I trained all these stars. Because if you don't pass this knowledge over to somebody else to keep the knowledge of young, old school training going on, man, there ain't gonna be no people to watch wrestling no more. I mean, I deal with people every day. And people see the shirt or they come to shows that we do on Thursday and they ask questions, man. They go, wrestling ain't the same no more, man. You guys put a good show on. It's all good, old school wrestling. I was like, that's what people want to see. They don't care about that flipping and flopping garbage. It's okay to have at least one person on the show that can do that stuff, but not every match. Everybody can't flip, okay? You got to show some wrestling holds, man, and some good guy versus bad guy stuff. And that's what entertains me. I can't even watch it today unless one of my people are on TV. If one of my people that I trained are on TV, because I think I got about 4 or 5 of them in WWE. I think there's 2 or 3 in AEW. There's 1 in NWA. And then, of course, there's some in NXT. You know, you got Sam Shaw. He's Dexter Lomas. He's down there in Florida. I think they moved him on up now. But it took him 12 years to get a break. And I tell people, man, wrestling ain't easy. You got to work at it. You got to be persistent, and you got to be hungry. You get, like I say in my videos a lot, I post stuff and I say, stay hungry. That's the main thing I say, because if you don't stay hungry and persistent and trying to make it, you'll never get there. You can't be lazy. And I didn't train a lot of people that were lazy, and they thought just because they looked good that they were going to make it, you might say. And I'm pretty sure you seen people out there look like they've been chiseled out of stone, but that don't mean nothing. I remember at the other place at WW4, I had a student come in. He looked like he was chiseled out of stone. He was jacked. I mean, looked like he went to the gym every day. I mean, muscles everywhere. But I tried to train him. I had other students try to take him in another ring and work on him, and he just couldn't get it. And I tried to be honest with him, and I tried to explain, hey, man, maybe you ought to get some of your money back. You got time to get some of your money back. He was like, no. No, it's a dream of mine. It's a dream of mine. It's, my dream. I want to be a wrestler. I was like, yeah, but, I had to throw the but in there. I was like, yeah, man, but everybody can't be a wrestler now. I said, you can be a manager, you can be a bodyguard, you can be whatever you want to be, but I don't think wrestling is it for you, man. And he ended up just leaving and going somewhere else. Because I told him, I was like, if you go somewhere else, they're just going to take your money. And I haven't seen him yet. I mean, I haven't seen him make it or anything. He just gave his money away, man. The thing about this business, man, if you don't tell young people the truth about, because we do a 3-day tryout, and it's free. If you come to PWA, man, we get the tryout for free for 3 days. You don't have to pay anything, just to see if you can cut the mustard. I'm training you the same way if anybody signed up for 3 days, okay? Now, if you're one of them fast learners, you're going to learn a lot in 3 days. But after that 3 days, you're going to have to either join or have a good life, because what we do at PWA, man, is we give you opportunity to come in and work with, world's best trainer, Total Protection, Mr. Hughes, trainer of champions and superstars, so you can figure out if this is for you. Because a lot of teachers, trainers, so-called trainers out there, they're not going to be honest and say, we're going to do this for free for you. They just want that money, right? With us, man, we give you a chance. We're not hungry for the money. We are hungry to see if you want to be a wrestler. So we can train you so you can get out here and keep this old school thing alive. So people can come back and start buying tickets and coming to shows, man. It ain't fun sitting in the show and you got 20 people sitting out there, and the place is supposed to be for 2,000 or 3,000 folks. You know what I'm saying? And people are not coming because the wrestling ain't no good. And that's what's wrong with the business today. Well, that's the way I train. I train so people can come back and watch you. Because when they see you, you're going to perform your butt off on that stage. And that's the important thing about, the way I train.
And for all the up-and-coming hungry wrestlers that do want to do this and really want to try and make this out for a living, how can they contact you? Where can they find your school? What's the best way to get in contact with Mr. Hughes and sign up?
Well, like I said earlier on this here flyer here, is the QR code, if you can see it. And if you can scan that in, I sure appreciate it. All they need to do is scan that QR code. It'll take you right to our Facebook page, and leave a message. And my assistant, Odell, will get back with you. You can call us at 404-668-7003. And we'll get back with you. If you're serious about becoming a professional wrestler and learning from the best, Total Protection, trainer, champions, and superstars, and trainers as well, then hit that QR code, and we'll get back with you and get you started. We got a 3-day trial going on, so you don't have to pay anything for 3 days, and you can try out with me. I'll be in there in the ring with you, along with my assistant Odell over here, and we'll be helping you get your career started. Now, if you want to join, then he'll discuss that price with you and everything on top of that. So thank you guys for looking in, and get back with me. Growing up, man, I grew up in Kansas City, Kansas. We grew up in the projects in Wyandotte County. And when I was a little bitty fella, I got 11 brothers and sisters. And my brother that's a year older than me. My two older brothers that are older than me, they were already athletes, okay? And so when we were young, my mom and dad split up, and he went to Chicago, and we stayed in Kansas City. And so in the summertime, we would go see my father. He'd come down from Chicago and get us and drive us back to Chicago. I hated it. And we would play in the park. And my brother, his name is the oldest, but we call him Preacher. That's his nickname, Preacher. So Preacher be like doing pull-ups and sit-ups and running and flipping and all this other stuff. And me, you know, I was just an average dude, but I was impressed with what he was doing. And so one day I was like, yo, bro, you know, can you show me how to do pull-ups and sit-ups and push-ups and all this other stuff? And so he started showing me how to do all this stuff. And we're in the park playing, and he's showing me how to do push-ups and sit-ups and pull everything. And so as life went on, got into my grade school, and started doing sports in grade school like basketball and baseball and stuff like that. And then once my grade school career ended, I got into junior high. Now, once I got into junior high, I was already lifting weights, and I joined the track team and in the wrestling team. But I was in the seventh grade, so they wouldn't let me play football, but they would let me practice. Right? Back then, you couldn't play until you got in 8th grade, and so I was on the track team. I was on the wrestling team, and I was on a football team, but I couldn't play. But I practiced, so they made me a manager. So I was a water boy. But the very next year, I got to start playing. Okay, and I got into weights and all that good stuff. And once I learned how to work out, and that's when everything changed. I mean, I back in the day, they used to have these magazines with the old black and white pages. The Atlas guy, what's his name? It was in black and white. I think his name was Atlas. It wasn't Tony. It was another guy, but it was Atlas, some kind of Atlas guy back then. And I was like, oh man, he looks good. And they'd had, you know, pictures in there, guys working out, you know, and then you mimic what you see. And so I'd go to the old Y up the street from my mom's house. I'd go to the Y and I'd work out. Back then they had all this old equipment. I'm talking about the pulleys and the thing that's rolling with the wood things on it. I don't know if you ever seen them, but they supposed to move fat off of you. That's how far back this was. And so I learned how to get in shape, you know, because I was a little flabby at the beginning. But once I learned how to get in shape and started doing those sports, when I was younger, I used to watch wrestling. It came on Channel 41 in Kansas City every Thursday night, live, 8 o'clock. And I used to watch, you know, back then, Harley Race was in the territory, and Bulldog Bob Brown and Rufus R. Jones, just a lot of stars, you know. And the main person that I used to really got me interested was Harley Race. I mean, this guy was amazing. Now, when it comes to champions, Harley Race was the best. I don't give it. Flair wasn't. Anybody that won the belt, they wasn't the best. Harley was the best. Why? Because back then, Harley went all over this planet wrestling people. He just didn't wrestle them in freaking the States. He went all over the freaking planet wrestling people and winning, okay? But he's the reason why I got into wrestling business, Harley Race. I was watching him one day when I was a kid, and I was like, damn, I want to do that when I grow up. Even though I played high school football, ran track, amateur wrestling in junior high and high school, was All-American in all these 3 sports, wrestling was what I wanted to do for a career. Now, my mom wanted me to play pro ball. I didn't want to play pro ball, man. I could have. You understand? I mean, I had letters from all kinds of pro teams, man. But I wanted to be a professional wrestler. Now, when I told my mom that I didn't want to play pro ball and I want to be a professional wrestler, she damn near lost her mind. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, but I think I can be good at it, mother. I think I can be good at it. And so, you know, growing up, you know, my family, you know, we went to church every Sunday. My mom, you know, growing up, we went to church every Sunday. The whole family. We load up in the car and she'd take us all because my uncle was a preacher and a deacon, and as kids, that's what we grew up on. So we knew how to pray and we knew how to talk to the Lord and all that good stuff. And so growing up, I that's what I used to do. I'd pray to the Lord, hey, Lord, I want to be a wrestler, blah, 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 And I ended up, in high school, I was All-American 3 sports, wrestling, track, and football. And I was highly recruited in football as a blue chipper. I was all parade, McDonald, all of them, All-American in football. So I was highly recruited. And so, I went to these 5 different schools that you pick out. But in the back of my mind, it was still wrestling, right? Now, here I was a junior in high school. I was a senior. Yeah, I was a senior in high school. And one of my visits was to go to K-State because they were playing Oklahoma. And at the time, Steve Doc Death Williams was playing for Oklahoma, and he wrestled too. And so I said, I'm going to go to that game so I can talk to him, see if I can get how I get in the business. I had a plan, man. And so that day came, and I went to K-State. They played them at home in Manhattan, Kansas. And so here I am on the freaking turf in the end zone with other recruits, walking around, looking at all the guys warm up and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I got to get down there and see if I can talk to him real quick. So I moseyed on down to where they were stretching, see? And I said, I got to find Steve Williams. There he is. So I moseyed on down where he was, and I said, yo, Steve, how you doing, man? Because I was supposed to go to their school the following week for a visit. I was supposed to go to Oklahoma. But I got to Steve, and I was like, hey, man, my name's Curtis Hughes, man. I'm recruiting. I'm supposed to go to visit Oklahoma next week, but I'm interested in becoming a wrestler, man. Can you help me out a little bit? Tell me what I need to do. And I said, I'm from Kansas City, blah, blah, blah. He goes, Kansas City. He goes, yeah, there's a guy. He's sitting there stretching. He goes, there's a promoter in Kansas City named Bob Geigo. Look him up. Didn't think about it. So right before my last year, I kind of inquired to talk to Bob Geigo. I got the number, called the office, because every week, every Thursday on the shows, they would tell you, the address to NWA office, and then the phone number would be up there. And so I got that, right? And so one day I just up and called. Now, I was highly recruited, mind you, from Iowa, all of them. Every college you could imagine, I was highly recruited. And Iowa was one of the main ones that wanted me. I almost went there too. And I didn't notice at the time, but Bob Geigo went to Iowa. He wrestled at Iowa, okay? And I didn't know he followed my career because I was on TV all the time, on the news, because I was like a good athlete, playing football and all that good stuff. So I was on the news all the time. So he knew who I was. So when I called Geigo and told him, hey, my name's Curtis Hughes, I'm interested in becoming a wrestler. He goes, yeah, hey, how you doing, Curtis? I know you are. I've been checking you out. I've been watching you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, damn, really? And so it broke the ice right off the bat. And so he told me, he goes, so are you still in college? What are you doing? I was like, I'm almost done. He goes, well, when you get done, just get back with me and we'll work something out. I ain't lying, man. It was, the good Lord blessed this one so easy. I tell people you got to pray, man, because if you want to get blessed, you got to pray and ask the Lord for stuff. And so that's what I did. I prayed about this, man, and it happened so easily. Once I got done in college, right before I got done, I called him and I was like, hey, I'm finishing up, blah, blah, blah. Now, at the place where they used to do shows every Thursday, it's called Memorial Hall in Kansas City, Kansas, right? Downtown Kansas City, Kansas, Memorial Hall. And he goes, yeah, meet me up there at such a time, bring you something to work out in. And we'll talk, And so, man, I couldn't sleep for a week, because I was excited, right? Now, the whole time I didn't talk to him. We didn't mention no money. I didn't ask about how much it's going to cost for me to be a wrestler or how much it's going to cost to get trained. So finally that day come and I go to Memorial Hall and I go inside and I was like, wow, man, this is a place where all these freaking old timers used to wrestle. It smelled like smell like old popcorn that they didn't popped, you know, and old cigarette smoke, you know, from the old days. I mean, I never forget it. And I remember seeing Andre there when I first seen him, how big he was, you know. And I was amazed. Here I am in the same building. So anyway, finally some other people came in, some other guys that was going to talk to him about being trained. Big Steve Ray, he was one of them. And then Big Brian Clark, he was another guy. You know, Adam Baum, we trained together too. And he came in, and I'm going like, damn, who's these big old dudes, right? You know, we met each other, blah, blah, blah. And so Guy was talking to us about, you know, how we're going to do this, blah, blah. Now, back then, they used to really monitor you. I mean, the business was sacred back then. You just couldn't get in. So they were just making sure that you were really wanting to get in. And so what they did before we started training, Sonny Myers had introduced me to this other guy. His name was Steve Estes. And they said, all right, you're going to go meet Steve Estes. And he's going to take you through some stuff. So they gave me Steve Estes' phone number. He was another wrestler. He was like one of the lower wrestlers on the totem pole there. Jobber, you might say. So they sent me up. So I called him, and he gave me his address, and I had to meet him over at his house. Now, I'm thinking we're going to go to a wrestling gym somewhere and work on some stuff. No, we didn't do that. We was in his living room working on holds and counters and shit. I'm going like, what the hell is this? Well, what they were doing is to see if I was really wanting to be a wrestler, see, because they didn't want to just throw me in there and start teaching me stuff and then find out about the business and then tell everybody in the world, hey, wrestling's a work, you know. Back then, it was totally different. And so I passed that test. And once I passed that test, Steve Estes calls Geigel and said, he's good. He's good to go. You ain't got to worry about him. He really wants to do this. And then that's when they said, you know, go back to Memorial Hall the following week, and they're going to start the training. And so that's when my training started, is at Memorial Hall, man. But Harley Race was the one that got me interested in wrestling. Now, once I got trained, it didn't take me long to get trained because I used to watch it all the time when I was a little bitty fella. And I recommend you young people out there, if you're interested in being a professional wrestler, you make sure you look at some old school stuff on YouTube. Don't look at the new stuff. Look at the old stuff, because you want to be able to do the old school style wrestling. Okay? Once you learn the old school style wrestling, you can do any kind of wrestling you want, but that's going to get you in the door. Like when I train my trainees, I tell them, I train you to get you in the door. Once you get in the door, you do whatever they tell you once you sign that contract, because they're paying you, okay? Like for example, some of them lock up different in WWF. I call it WWF. It's always WWF to me. Some of them lock up different compared to the way I train, see? And the thing is, you know, locking up is about relaxing and all that stuff. You can't just be stiff as a pipe, because you can't. If you want everything to look fluid, and the guy's stiff as a pipe, the match is going to be garbage, because the guy's not going to feel comfortable working with you, because he's going to feel you green as crap. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to go too far off this way. Let me get back over here about the reason why I got in professional wrestling, which was because of Harley Race. And the dream come true for me was, once I started at Memorial Hall in the NWO school days, Harley used to come in there. See, he used to come in and talk to us and everything. And I'm sitting here going in awe, because I'm going, man, this is the guy here. This is the man for me. Harley was the man for me. And so once I got trained, and Geigel started putting us on the road, because we had a little territory in Kansas City called Central States, okay? And we hit Missouri, we'd hit Jefferson City, we hit St. Joe, Missouri, you know, just hit all the central states around Kansas and Missouri. And one day Geigel says, hey, you got a gig in Omaha with, you're wrestling Harley. And when he told me I was wrestling Harley, man, I had to pinch myself and go, no way. Because this is my guy right here, you know what I mean? And we rode together, see? Told me what time he was leaving. I met him at Memorial Hall. We got in the car and we headed to freaking Omaha, Nebraska, right? And on the way, he's educating me on wrestling, educating me on the game. That's how I do my students too, man. The wisdom he gave me, I give them too, man. Because you can't just get this stuff. You got to get it from somebody else. They got it from somebody else. You understand? That's why I pass it on to somebody else, man, so they can experience this wrestling thing. It ain't just about getting in there and doing stuff. You got to get taught the business. You got to get taught everything about professional wrestling. You got to get taught the history of it and why you do it a certain way and why it's got to be done that way all the way through. You can't just because a new company pops up and they're doing it different. It's still professional wrestling, man. You know what I'm saying? And so that night when we get to the building, I mean, I'm nervous. My butt was puckering like crazy. I'm nervous as hell. You understand? And as I get to wrestle my freaking hero, Harley Race, man. And here we are in the back, and he kept it so simple. He kept it so simple because he knew I was green. But I had graduated to his shows outside the school. Back then, once you got trained real good, they went ahead and let you go work with a veteran. And the veteran was the pilot. He was the one that was carrying you through. And you didn't get ahead of him. Because if you did, you was gonna learn the hard way, like I did working Bulldog Bob Brown one night at Memorial Hall. My mom was there. That was her first match. She had came to see me wrestle. And I got in a hurry. You know, because back then they tell you, don't get in a hurry. Let me be the pilot. Let me just listen, you know. And I got in a hurry. Bulldog Bob Brown, if you ain't never heard of him, look him up. He was a real old school heel. And he looked like it too. And he had heat back then. I mean, he was a damn good heel. And he was the one I had to wrestle. Back then I was a babyface. Called me, you know, Curtis the Cat. Hughes, right? And so I got in the ring with him and I'm starting to get comfortable. And I started getting in a hurry. And I started doing stupid stuff. And so what he did, he goes, slow down, kid, and I didn't listen. And so he taught me a lesson. So he threw me out on the freaking floor. Back then, they didn't have no pads, bro. It was all wood. So if you hit that floor and you didn't land right, you was going to bust your ankles or bust your freaking wrist. So I landed right, but he came right after me, gave me a big boot, and gave me a forearm smash, and grabbed the freaking folding chair and bent me over and let me have it. And once he let me have it, he worked it, of course, but he laid it in, though. And once he did that, he goes, listen. And after he said that listen part, ever since then, anytime I got in the ring with an old timer, I would listen. I wouldn't say anything. I'd let them call the match. And so when I started doing that, that means I was learning, see? And like I said, a lot of kids today, they want to sit in the back and talk about the match for a whole 2 or 3 hours and go out there and have a total abortion. I teach guys how to wing a match. That's how you did it in the old days, see? So the fans would know that the thing was planned. You know, and I try to teach my students, you know, wing the match. I don't want to hear nobody talking about no matches. We did it all the time at the other place. And of course, we do it here at the new place with new people. You know, go out here and learn. We teach you how to wing a match. So the fans don't know y'all been back there for 3 or 4 hours talking about, you know, the match. All right, we're going to have a little dance here. You're going to do your thing, and then I'm going to do my thing. Then we're going to get some heat. Then we're going to make a comeback. Then we're going to go home. Bull crap. Just go out there, have the damn match, give them the finish. Because that's how I taught these people on that flyer, and him too. I'd give them the finish, and I say, go out there and tell a story. Go out there and have a match. I don't hear y'all talking all this garbage in the back about what you're going to do and what you're going to blah, 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 blah. Some of them did it, you know, probably when I wasn't looking, but it wasn't helping them any, see, because nowadays they do all that now. But to make your match easier and more authentic, it's best just to get the finish and then go out there and learn how to wing a match. That's it. Once you learn how to wing a match, I mean, you can have a match with a broom, man, because you ain't talked about nothing. All you need to know is the finish. And then you're going to tell that story up to the finish, you see. Back to Harley Race, once I did that match with Harley Race, I mean, I was in heaven, man. Nobody could tell me nothing. And then that's when my career really started taking off a little bit. You know, I started working more veterans, and every week he put me with somebody else and ran an angle with Rufus R. Jones, you know, Freight Train Jones. And then after him, they pretty much kind of turned me, still I was a baby, but then they sent me up to Minnesota to AWA. One day, Geigo came to me and he goes, hey, Hughes, got a gig for you in AWA up in Minnesota. You need to go talk to Vern Gagne. Look him up when you get up there. And I said, okay. He goes, this is going to be your first, big TV deal. I'm going, huh? He goes, yeah, they're on ESPN. So, I was like, oh shit, really? So anyway, the day comes and I go up to Minnesota and I get in the building and this arena I think it was about a 15,000 seater, okay? And this is the first, besides Memorial Hall is like 3,000 seater, 3,000, 4,000 seater. But this place in Minnesota, at the arena in Minnesota, was bigger. And the place was going to be packed with people. And so I get to Minnesota and I park my vehicle and I go inside to meet with Vern, the owner. And I looked Vern up and I found his son. What was his son's name?
Greg Gagne.
Greg, yeah, thank you. And I found Greg and I said, hey, I'm Curtis Hughes from Kansas City. Guy sent me up here. He told me to look up your father, Vern, whoever. He goes, yeah, follow me. And I followed him and he took me in the dressing room where Vern was, shook his hand, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. He goes, hey, Curtis, how you doing, man? You're a great athlete, blah, blah, blah. We want to do something with you. Okay, you're going to be a baby face. He goes, you heard of Junkyard Dog and Rufus R. Jones, haven't you? I said, yeah. He goes, could you do some of that, little shucking and jiving type of deal? I was like, oh, yeah, whatever you need, whatever you want. And how Junkyard used to get out there and do his shucking and jiving and all that, Rufus too. And so they had music for me and everything. Now, I was green. I was nervous. And they said, oh, you're going to have to do a promo. We need to get a promo from you. And, I was nervous as hell, but I still tried to do my promo. Now, I went to Kansas State, mind you, so my gimmick was Curtis the Cat. Our mascot at K-State was Willie the Cat, see? So I used that gimmick for my career, So I called myself Curtis the Cat. But I learned a long time ago to put my name in my gimmick. Some old timers told me that because Vince was starting to come up and start signing people. And they say you can get royalties from that. And so when he told me all that, I was like, okay, I'll just leave my name the same. I just use my real name. I just put Cat in it, Curtis the Cat Hughes. So that's my real name. So I was like, my whole objective was to go to WWF, you see? And so I tried to do my first promo and I was just nervous as hell. You can tell this on YouTube. You can tell I was nervous trying to do this promo. And at the time, Eric Bischoff was there. He was the stick guy. And so that's back when he was young too. And he goes, yeah, just relax, Curtis, and just do your thing, just relax. He goes, I'm new too, So we both trying to learn gimmicks and characters and stuff like that. And so finally, I cut it, I messed up, cut it again, messed up. About 3 times it took me to get what they got, and they finally got it. You can tell I was just nervous as hell, but they got what they got. It's on YouTube. And so finally I had my match. My first match was with Brad Riggins. Now, Brad Riggins was an old timer. He trained a lot of people too, but he was good. But that's the one they first gave me up there at AWA, and I thank God they did because he took care of me. Now, the thing he told me when I first got in the ring that I'd never forget, when I got in that ring and he came over to me, he just comes over and shakes my hand and says, welcome to the big leagues, kid. And then we had our match. And once we got done, he shook my hand and said, good job, because I went out there, I was doing drop kicks and I was athletic. I was just doing my thing, and Greg and Vern was very impressed. So they said, we're going to push you. And this is AWA. And so they started pushing me, man, every week. Every week I went over.
AWA days, you were there, and it's still on ESPN. You got the TV going, but it's sort of towards the end where they're doing like the Team Challenge series. They're doing all sorts of there's trying to compete, but you can kind of tell it's a little bit. Did you get that sense when you were up there, or was this still like this is a major promotion here? Because they're still like the number 3.
Well, you saw it. Hell, I even saw it in Kansas City territory, because NWA had came in, and they had started bringing in guys from Atlanta, see, and kind of beating up the territory guys, see. The locals, you understand? Like we had Kansas City territory, and then here come NWA from Atlanta and stuff like that, and they started coming in and beating up the local guys, see? And so they started killing the territory, see? The stars in Kansas City was starting to do the jobs and shit like that, even though when they started doing the big shows and bringing Kansas City in for Atlanta in for a TV taping, the locals would have to do the jobs and stuff like that. And so that was killing the territory, see? And at the same time, Vince was buying territories and companies and talent. And so it was going down slowly. And then I noticed in AWA the same way. Vince started pulling people from AWA, the stars from there. Sarge, he was there when I was there. Yoko, he was there. Rodney. I mean, I can go on down the line of all the people that were there the same time I was there and ended up going to WWF, see? And so that's when AWA started going down and down and down because we really didn't have any stars left. We had Nick Bonkwinkle, he was still there, but he was getting older. A lot of guys were getting older, but Vince was still taking the stars that had names, you see? And once he started doing that, then that's when AWA was hanging on by a thread, see? Because I noticed it, and I know a lot of the boys noticed it, that the house started, when the fans started just trickling away. Because it used to be just packed. I mean, sold out, right? But then when Vince started taking the talent, like Sarge and all these other names, places started showing Saturday Night Main Event and WWF, and Vince was pushing all these stars in WWF, and it seemed different. And everybody was like, wait a minute, now, hey, this is a better wrestling over here. They're on TV all the time, so they must be important. And so that's what happened with AWA. And then after that, then everybody was trying to go to WCW and WWF.
Did Vern Gagne have any feelings one way or another when you got picked up for WCW? Was he like, oh, I just put all this investment?
I'm pretty sure he was pissed. I'm pretty sure he was, man. I mean, ain't nothing he could do though. I mean, because when WCW called me, man, it's all about career, right? I mean, it's all about trying to make a living. You know what I mean? And I was still young and still, trying to go this way with my career. You understand? And I didn't want to go and pass that up. I mean, he gave him a blessing, of course, because I'm out of Kansas City. So I was Geigel's guy. So, I talked to Geigel about it. Of course I did. Because I was like, Geigel, man, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do here? Because they first asked, because WCW asked me when they first called me if I was on contract with AWA. I was like, yeah, I'm on a TV contract, but it ain't nothing. It ain't no big deal. And that's when they decided, once I told them it wasn't no big deal, that's when they decided, okay, well, we can do some business then. So you're not obligated to them totally. I said, no. It's just, whenever I do TV, that's it, And so once I told them that, then they said, okay, now we can do some business, And then when they told me how much they was going to pay me, that's when I got back with Geigel and told him about WCW calling. He goes, go for it, kid. What you got to lose, WCW come calling. They saw what I was doing on ESPN and AWA. And so they come calling. Now, at the time, I used to see Luger on there. I was like, damn, this guy's freaking huge and he looks good and all this other stuff. And with my years at AWA, I had a torture rack too, we had the same finish. And so when I started seeing Luger, I was like, oh shit, he got the same finish I got. Well, when WCW saw me and they saw my gimmick and how athletic I was, and I guess they figured, well, shit, he does the same finish as Luger. Maybe we can work an angle out with them two. So I get a call from, at the time I was hanging out with my girlfriend, and my buddy T.C. Carter, he was trained with us too at Memorial Hall in Kansas City. And he's married to my cousin, so we became best friends. And one day I came to he came to my girlfriend's house, but I wasn't there. But he left a note because they had reached out to him because they couldn't find me. So they had reached out to him, said, hey man, you know where Curtis is? You know, we want to talk to him. So he goes, I can find him. So he takes a note over and puts it on my girlfriend's door. We was at the laundromat, you know. And so I came back and she goes, what is this? She goes, this is for you. I'm going, for me? I don't even know what I'm doing for me. And I see it said TC on it, right? And I read it. He goes, TC, call, here's the number, call WCW. I thought it was a rib, you know? So I called him. Back then we had landlines, you know? So, hey, man, what's this you left on my door? He goes, oh, man, they're looking for you, man. I said, who looking for me? He goes, WCW looking for you, man. Jody Hamilton called looking for you. I left a number on the door. I was like, oh, really? Oh, shit. So I told her, I was like, I got to go home real quick because I had to use my mom's phone, you know what I mean? I didn't want to call long distance on her phone. So I said, I got to go home. I got to call these people. So I went home, and the very next morning, I called WCW, down 12th floor up there at CNN building at the Omni over there, hotel. So I called him, and I said, yeah, this is Curtis Hughes. Hey, you know, you guys left a note on the door for me to call you? Jody Hamilton left the number. He goes, yeah, hang on, Curtis. So the secretary said, hang on. And so Magnum gets on the phone, Magnum TA. He goes, hey, Curtis, how you doing, man? I was like, oh, pretty good. He goes, we saw you, you work on AWA. And Ole, at the time, he was the booker. Ole Anderson interested in doing some business with you. He saw you, you got the torture rack, and Luger has it. When he said Luger, I was like, oh, shit. He goes, yeah, I wanted to see if we can bring you in and work an angle with you and Luger, having torture rack matches. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then he goes, well, we want to see, what you charge, how much you might want to charge, to come down and do that. Now, I didn't want to undersell myself. So I was sitting there going, I was waiting for him to tell me a price. So I was sitting there going, and he throws out a number, He goes, how about 400 a night? I said, okay. 400 a night, the rest of Luger? Sure. Because at the AWA, I was only making $150 a show to do TV tapings, you understand? But we was talking about a night here. I said, hell yeah. And so, all right, we'll get back with you on information on your flight, this and that. We need your name, birthday, all this other stuff. So I gave all that to them, and then they said, we'll get back with you on a date when we want you to come to Atlanta. And so they finally get back with me on the date. They got my airline flight and everything all worked out, and I came to Atlanta. I come to Atlanta, and I get off the plane, and somebody's there to pick me up from the airport, and they take me to the CNN building to meet everybody in the office. And back then, it was a nightly deal. I hadn't signed the contract yet, but it was a $400 a night. And back then, we was on the road every day. I mean, at least 5 nights a week, man. So I had pretty good payoffs every week. And the only bad thing I didn't like about WCW pay is they paid you every other week. See, WWF pays you every week. So you had money in your pocket all the time. And so I get here and we talk, we get everything worked out. And I was staying down at the airport called Travel Lodge. It's still there. They changed a few names, but it's back to that now. And that's where all the boys stayed. And they had a place called The Dungeon. It's a bar. And that's where all the boys used to go hang out at back then. Everybody played there. And that's where I stayed at when I first came to Atlanta. It was at the Dungeon. And so I started my career with WCW, right, as Big Cat. That's what they called me. And Pee Wee Anderson, I don't know if anybody ever remember him. He used to be the old referee. And I didn't have a car when I first moved here. I used to ride with everybody else. And so Pee Wee, he had this old blue Fleetwood Brougham that he was trying to sell. I think it was like $1,200. And he goes, "Hey, Cat, I got old Fleetwood. You know, if you want to buy it, $1,200." I was like, "Hell yeah, I'll buy it." I didn't even look at it yet. I just wanted a vehicle. But man, let me tell you, that was the best damn horse I ever drove. I drove that car all over this country. I mean, I used to leave a few days early on the road. I had Wi-Fi. I had Y tickets this thick because I wanted to see the country, man. I wanted to drive. I'd pack up my cooler. I'd pack up my freaking tackle box and fishing poles, and I'd leave a day or two early because I wanted to just see the country. And I'd get there a day early, right? I'd sleep in my car. I didn't care, man. I'd camp on the bank of a freaking fishing hole and just camp at night, man, and then go to do the show. And then at the end of the loop, you know, guys have to wait to catch the flight home. I'd leave and hit on back. Guys want to jump in the car and ride home with me. You know, dog, everybody. "Hey, man, hey, Cat, can I catch a ride back with you?" Hell yeah, you can catch a ride back. I mean, I remember one time we had about 5 guys going down the highway, headed back to Atlanta. One of my tires blew. It was the funniest thing. I mean, I got so many damn stories, but you know, it was me, Dog, and Tommy Rich, and Black Bart, and I think it was Ricky Morton. We was all together riding down the road, man, and one of my tires popped on me, and I'm sitting there trying to change the tire. They're sitting there telling jokes and shit. You know, "You guys ain't gonna help me or what?" You know, I mean, back then I was young, so they didn't care. I was the new guy on the block, but we was all cool. We had a good time, but you know, that was the fun part about my young years in professional wrestling when I first got to WCW. Because here I am, this young kid coming from Kansas City, AWA territory, and that's when the territories were starting to dwindle away because Vince was starting to buy everybody and buy all these companies and buy all the talent, see?
And they brought you in specifically to work that torture rack feud with Lex Luger.
Right. Yes, they did. And so when they, like I said, when they called me about the torture rack deal, you know, I was like, hell yeah, you know, why not, you know? And I told my mom about it, and she was happy about it. But, you know, I was nervous when I first got here. And the thing I learned, thank God I learned in my training from Geigel and Sonny Myers, I forgot to mention him, he trained me too. So they both had a hand in training me, Bob Geigel and Sonny Myers. And I talked to Geigel, and I was like, so when I go up here to WCW, what am I supposed to do? He goes, "Well, you know, if they want you to sign a contract, make sure you read it, do all this, all the stuff you're supposed to do." And back then I didn't care. I just wanted to wrestle, man. So my first run in WCW, I didn't have no contract. It was a nightly deal, $400 a night. You know what I'm saying? And so here we are, me and Luger. This is our first night on the road. I think it was something like, where were we at? Charlotte somewhere. It was our first night on our torture rack match tour. And here I am, the new guy coming in. Now, they brung me in to work Luger to get this torture rack gimmick over, okay? Now, here we are in the back, and we go over to finish, because Luger used to go over every night anyway. I didn't care, as long as I got paid. I already understood it was a work, so forth and so on. And so, the very first night, here we are in the ring, we're having our match. But he wasn't selling my stuff. He wasn't selling a headbutt. He wasn't selling my punches. He wasn't selling my big boots. And I'm sitting there, and I take a powder, and I'm going, this cocksucker ain't selling my stuff. So I call the ref over. I said, "Yo, ref, tell Luger, man, what's going on here? They brought me in to work with him to get the match over. If he don't freaking start working, I'm going to leave. But I don't want to leave because I don't want to lose my spot." You understand? So the ref goes over there, and I can see him talking to Luger. Finally, I get back in there, and we start working. And he's trying to do the same old. And finally, we get the match over, and we go home, okay? Now, I'm 38 hot, so I'm walking back towards the dressing room. I'm gonna beat the hell out of this son of a. So I get to the back, and I'm pacing back and forth in the concourse waiting for him. And finally he comes walking back, and I'm going, yo, man, what's the hell's going on here, man? They brung me in to get this match over. Why come you ain't selling my stuff? I didn't say that. I said a cuss word. I said, how come you ain't selling my stuff, man? How damn, we got a problem? And once I said that, after that night, after I confronted him about it, because back then they used to try to punk the young guys that come in, the company, to see if they can get over on you. See, but I was taught right. I was trained right. And they told me about this date like this would happen. And sure enough, it happened. And I confronted him about it. And after I confronted Luger about it, the next shows we did, we didn't have no problem. We had great matches. And so, I trained my students that way. I remember I trained when I told Jonathan Gresham about you're going to run across stuff like this. And he had an issue in AWA. Not AW, I'm saying AEW. My goodness. He had this issue in AEW with, because they were starting to push him, see? They was putting him with, they put him with the shooter. What's his name? I can't even think of his name. Damn it. But anyway, it'll probably come to me later. But anyway, they had him walk out with, he's kind of crippled now.
Is he?
I forgot his damn name. It'll hopefully come back to me. But anyway, they tried to pull some shenanigans with him, but he stood his ground. He told him, no, I'm not doing that. No. You're not gonna punk me. And that's why he got let go. But he stood his ground, see? So now he has respect. You understand? And you gotta get respect in this business. You can't let people just run you over. I mean, it's just too many people, that's trying to make it, okay? And so you're trying to build your name up, your character up, so you can have at least a career out of this stuff. But but when people mention your name, they can say, yeah, you don't want to mess with him. He don't take no wooden nickels. You know what I'm saying? And so, I was taught that way, and I teach my students the same way. I teach them the business part of wrestling. Like I remember Odell over here, I took him on the road with me one time. Like I always take my students on the road. And we were in Ohio, I believe it was, or was it West Virginia? I think it was Ohio. Was it in Ohio or West Virginia? You remember Odell?
West Virginia.
Yeah, it was in West Virginia. And the promoter didn't hustle the show. Now I have a guarantee when I go do shows like all superstars, they got a guarantee. You got a room and you guarantee, and you got to train sometimes. And so we get to the building. It was at a skate ring in a rec center. And the guy didn't hustle the show. He had a couple superstars. He had me, Marty Jannetty, and somebody else on there, on the card, right? So he had a couple of names on the card. But he didn't hustle the show. There was about 10 people in the freaking building, okay? 10 people sitting out there. Okay, so we go out here, we do the match, and the match is over, the show's over. So he comes to me, brings me my envelope. He's got mine in there, but he didn't have Odell's money in there. So I'm saying, yo, man, wait a minute. You're a little short. You didn't get my boy's cash in there. He goes, oh, Mr. Hughes, you saw the house? I'm going, no, listen, man. That ain't how I do business, man. You're going to have to find his money, bro. He goes, well, you think you can wait till midnight? I said, I don't want to hear none of that bullshit. I was like, you go find this money so we can get out of here. And so what he had to, this is shoot, he'll tell you. So what he did was he went around to all the younger guys that he paid and got their money back and paid Odell. He goes, I said, he was wanting to give me the money. I said, no, you give it to him. I'm teaching this man the ropes. So he goes and hands the money to Odell. And Odell shook his hand like I taught him. I was doing business with you, and we got the hell on down the road. And I teach all my students that stuff. That's what you learn at Total Protection Pro Wrestling Academy, man. Because a lot of promoters, they'll try to screw you. Going to drive 300 miles for $20. Come on now. That's crazy. My job is to teach you, not show you how to get screwed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, show up and then the house is light, and then all of a sudden they don't have the money for
Exactly.
you.
They ain't my fault.
Yeah,
I'm here. I drove freaking, a few hundred miles. You understand? Now I don't hear all that, all that bull crap. I fulfilled my duty here. I came here. I had the match. I brung an extra guy like I told you I was going to bring. You got to pay him. Like that's what the agreement was. And I ain't getting my money till we leave. I ain't leaving till I get my money. I'm not going to wait till later. I'm not going to wait till the next day. Give it to me now. Find it. And he found it too. And that's how I do business, man. I don't play that mess.
Of course.
Yeah.
When to back up real quick, the whole thing about Lex Luger, do you think he was intimidated by you because all of a sudden you got this other guy, as big or bigger, stronger maybe? Now he's getting this big push. Maybe he wants to kind of dull your shine a little bit, maybe?
I think so a little bit. I think so. I think he was a little intimidated. I believe so. But once I confronted him about the situation, everything was cool. I mean, I did that with a couple guys. Even with Arn, man. I mean, Arn Anderson one time, we was on the tour in Japan, and we went out and partied the night before, and I was a little hungover. Everybody was. And when I was bigger, I used to snore so bad. I mean, I snore and run my roommates out. I wake up, I ain't got no roommate. You know what I mean? And so here we are on the tour bus, and as soon as we get on the bus, I fall out. I'm knocked out, and you can hear, Arn's going, "Cat!" Hot damn it. He kept calling my name because I kept dozing off. I said, hot damn, man, really? I'm tired, man, let me catch a few minutes of sleep over here. And so it got a little heated, once he said my name about 3 times out loud. "Cat, wake up, shit," And I'm turning around, I'm going, and we got a little heated. But after that, we was cool. After I confronted him, I ain't no punk now. You ain't gonna just talk to me any kind of way. I know I'm new and everything, but hot damn it, I've been trained too, And so after I confronted him about that, we was good. Same thing with the Steiner brothers, man. I remember we was at Center Stage TV taping, and I used to take my hat off, my jacket off, and give it to the guy, one of the ring guys, to bring it back to your dressing room. Wherever you got dressed, they'll put it where you're sitting. And so I had a match, a jobber match with somebody, and I gave the guy my stuff. Went out there. I was out there for about 5 or 6 minutes. It wasn't long. Sidewalk slammed him and came on back. But when I got back and sat down, my hat was squashed. I'm going, who in the hell squashed my damn hat? So I went to go find the ring guy that brought my stuff. "Hey, man, who squashed my damn hat?" And he wasn't going to tell me. So I kind of grabbed him by the neck of the freaking shirt, and I was like, "You don't tell me who freaking squashed my damn hat, we're going to have a problem." He goes, "Oh, the Steiners did it, man. The Steiners," he stoozed on him, I said, "Which one?" I think he said Rick did it. Because Rick, Dogface Gremlin, he used to play ribs all the time. And I was like, all right, so I went in, and they used to have that dog with them. They used to bring that damn dog. That pit, was that a pit or some kind of bulldog? They used to bring him to the ring, and he'd be sitting in the dressing room peeing everywhere. And so I confronted him, "Hey, man, this is my damn gimmick. Don't be freaking squashing my damn gimmick. You touch my gimmick again, I'm going to kill that damn dog." That's what I told him. Once I did that, they left, and we was cool. We had great matches and everything. Me and Luger and them two, we had the best matches. It's on YouTube. But I had to confront these people because I was a new guy coming in, see. So even though I was a big guy, they wanted to see if they can punk me, see if I could stick my tail between my legs and all that bull crap. Didn't happen, bro. I stood my ground and got respect, see.
Was it the same in the matches with the Steiners too? Like, did you feel that they weren't trying to take advantage, or everything was cool in those matches?
No, they were fine. After I confronted them about squashing my hat, that's when we had good matches. Now I can tell you this much. Now you remember Big Van Vader. Now me and him tagged too, and one night we was in Kansas City in Topeka, Kansas, and there was a TV tape in Clash of Champions. It's on YouTube, and we were working the Steiner brothers. Okay. Now, the finish was Bulldog me, 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, during that match, remember it's a tag, mind you. Now, Vader, he was greedy, man. Lord rest his soul. He was a greedy guy, man, when it came to tagging and stuff. He wanted to get all this stuff in. But it was a TV taping, man. It was live. It was a Clash of Champions live in Kansas, in Topeka, Kansas. So my family was watching, friends was watching, girlfriend watching, you understand? And so we're having this freaking tag match with the Steiner brothers, okay? It's supposed to be tagging in and out. That's what it's supposed to be. Now, Vader, he's spending more time in the ring getting his shit over with the Steiners, see? He gonna tag me in, I get a little something in, and he wanna tag back out, and I get back out, he come back in and spend more time, see? This is TV taping, we only got so much time. So finally he get all this shit in, and he finally tags me in. I get to do a little something, and then now it's time to make the comeback now and go home. I'm pissed, because I said, this cocksucker didn't give me nothing, man. But he gave me a little bit, but not as much as he did. Okay, I wanted to shine just a little more. Anyway, long story short, Bulldog, 1, 2, 3. We get up, he want to give me a high 10. I'm going like, shit, I turn around and just left. He going like this, I was like, F you, and I turned around and went back to the dressing room. I'm walking down the freaking runway, heading to the dressing room. I'm pissed, 38 hot. I'm going to confront this piece of trash. So he comes in, good job, brother. I'm going, no. What the hell was that, man? I said, you didn't give me shit. I was like, hot damn, man, you took most of the this is a shoot. I told him this. You took most of the freaking match, and I got to come in and do the damn job, man. Come on now. So after I told him that, we got along great. We had no more problems, see? And that's how they used to do the young cats coming in. They try to, just because you might have been there longer than them, that you supposed to just follow whatever. I didn't go like that, man. I didn't put up with that mess. I train my students the same way. You don't put up with garbage, and if you put up with it, it's your fault. Because I told you how it was and how it's going to be and stuff like that, Other than that, he was the last one, I believe. Yeah.
Did you guys tag again, you and Vader?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we tagged a few times. Yeah. After that, yeah.
But no
on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We did a couple TV shows, and then after that, it was all on the road. Because back then, what they did was they would put the match on TV and then tour it, back like they do now. They put a match, an angle on TV, and then you take that angle on the road and hope it draw money. Mm-hmm. And that's how they did it back then.
What was your interaction like with Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, well, shit, man. Dusty, man, we got along great. I mean, it wasn't for Dusty getting the book. Because, see, you got to understand, when I first got to WCW, Ole was the booker. He was the boss, see? And so he was the one that let me, do the big cat gimmick, see? So once Ole was about to relieve his duties as the booker, then that's when Dusty came in and got the book. Once Dusty came in and got the book, that's when he came to me, Johnny B. Bad, PN News, and a few others to try to help them, their career and their gimmick, come up with a better gimmick. And so when he came to me, he goes, hey, he used to call me LT. Hey, LT, I got a better gimmick, like Lawrence Taylor, Yeah. He goes, because I look like him a little bit back then. He goes, hey, LT, I think I got a better gimmick for you. He goes, you remember Big Bubba Rogers, don't you? I said, yeah. He goes, you think you can do that gimmick? I was like, yep, I can do it. That was a no-brainer right there. He goes, well, just put your own little twist to it. We don't want, you don't want the people getting you mixed up. We don't want y'all, you don't want people thinking we're the same people. So what I did was I did my little research. I used to sit there and watch Big Bubba Rogers. I'd watch his matches. I'd watch him go to the ring. I watch everything about him, how he went to the ring, what he wore, what he took off before his match, the whole 9 yards. And what I noticed about Bubba was he would take his hat off, he would take his shades off, he would take his jacket off, and sometimes he would take his tie off through the course of the wrestling match. And so what I had to do with that character was I was like, okay, I could take my hat off, I could take my jacket off, but I got to figure out a way to leave them shades on. That was the key. And I was like, if I can wrestle with these shades on, I think that'll get the gimmick over. Now, this is a story by itself with the shades. Now, I would go to the freaking sporting goods store, and I'd get one of those sports straps, but it wasn't snug enough because every time I would take a big backdrop or hip toss, my shades would fly off. And Harley would have to give me my other pair because he kept one pair in his pocket, because they broke real easy sometimes. And so I said, huh? But back then I wore black tape, electrical tape, because heels wore black tape and the baby faces wore white tape. And so I noticed on the black tape one night I was putting it on in the dressing room, and I know it stretched. I was like, wait a minute. A big old light went off in my head. I was like, shit, this stretches. So what I ended up doing was I took the tape. I take about a piece this long, about 2 pieces this long, and I put them together so I wouldn't pull my hair, one for the inside, one for the outside. And then I put them on the end and tape the ends. Bingo. And so when I go, and I was bigger then, so it was pretty snug in that groove back there. You couldn't see it because it was inside the fat, you see. But they were snug, so every time I would take a bump, they wouldn't come off. I was like, oh yeah, this works. But I had another problem. The other problem was they would fog up so bad I couldn't see. So I'm sitting there trying to look up under the freaking glasses so I can see the ropes. And so in my car, I had this defogger that I bought. It's for the morning time. Keep the dew off so you can see. And I was like, oh shit, I got some defogger in my trunk. So what I would do, I'd go and I got it out the trunk and I rub it on the glasses. Inside and out, right? And I had a match and they worked. They didn't fog up. I was like, damn, there we go. Now I can see. And so Dusty was the one that gave me the Mr. Hughes gimmick. But with that Mr. Hughes gimmick, I put my real name in there because Mr. T was going off in my head. I said, Mr. T, Mr. T, Mr. Hughes, Mr. T. And I was like, shit, Mr. T, Mr. Hughes. So Dusty was like, come up with a name and get back with me. So I was like, hey, Dusty, how Mr. Hughes sound? He goes, yeah, we'll use that. Perfect. That's my name in there. And so each time I signed the contract, I'd get royalties for my name, right? So when I signed my real name, Curtis Hughes, and then signed my wrestling name, the bodyguard, Mr. Hughes, it was a done deal. And so that's why I got along with Dusty real good. It wasn't for him, I wouldn't have the Mr. Hughes gimmick, you see. And so I have nothing bad to say about Dusty. But the last run I had in WCW, when Dusty was about to get let go and the guy from UWF was coming in, what's his name? That's where Dog and Terry Taylor and everybody was it UWF?
It was Bill Watts.
Watts,
yeah.
There you go. Thank you very much. Bill Watts was coming in and get the book.
Mm-hmm.
And so Bill liked me and he wanted to do some business, okay? So they had called me up to come up to the CNN building where the office was, and they wanted to talk to me. I guess they was going to give me a contract. And so here I am. I go in the office, and I'm sitting in front of Bill Watts there, in front of his desk, but then Dusty comes in, and he's sitting by the door in a chair, And, I got good peripheral vision, but while we're sitting there talking, everything was going fine, and then it went to hell. I was like, what the hell happened? I thought I was going to, get another contract or whatever. But, I ain't saying what he was doing, but, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But he happened to come in the room when everything was going good, and then it went to shit, So, but I don't have anything bad to say about him because he didn't want to help me with my career, and help me catapult the Mr. Hughes gimmick. And so that's how WWF noticed who I was, because of the WCW TVs, which helped my career a great deal.
And he did push you.
Yeah. Dusty gave me a serious push. He really gave me a serious push. And, even when I had to work his son, his son had to put me over a few times, but on my way out, that's how it is. On your way out, you got a job for people. That's how it was back then. And so I already knew, when my time was up, it was up. It was time to go to the next level in my career, which was WWF.
This is kind of random, but I wanted to ask you this about Dusty because we know his legend and wrestler, booker, and everything like that. But you mentioned Rufus R. Jones earlier. Have you ever heard that? Because I've heard several of the wrestlers that would say that he kind of took that persona from Rufus R.
I heard that
Thunderbolt.
too. Yeah, I heard that.
Did you ever see that?
I heard that too. A lot of the boys used to say that, and I remember talking to Rufus about it, and he told me about it. Yeah, he told me about how Dusty kind of took a lot of the way they did their thing. You know what I mean? Because at first, Dusty was just an old regular Texas cowboy, and then all of a sudden, he's talking jive and shucking and jiving like he's one of the brothers, right? And so, Rufus used to tell me that, and Junkyard used to tell me, and Tony Atlas used to tell me, because these all guys been around, man. They've been around the business, so they done seen a lot of this stuff going down. You know what I mean? And riding down the highway, they tell you stories. You ask them about somebody, they'll tell you. Yeah, well, he ain't what you think and all this. So yeah.
But otherwise, he treated you pretty good up until that last.
Yeah, he treated me great. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Dusty. If it wasn't for, like I said, one for him, I wouldn't have been Mr. Hughes, and my career probably wouldn't have been tuck off like it did. Because it gave me the opportunity to create something myself. He just gave me this gimmick and said, "Do what you will with it," and I did. And when I created Keep the Shades On, they tried, but they ain't figured out how to keep them on. Like when me and Motor City got together, me and Motor City Madman, he would wear them, but they'd come off, But my thing was, I want to figure out how to keep these suckers on and wrestle the whole match through them. The whole gimmick is going to be the shade gimmick, and that's what it was.
Now that you mentioned the Motor City Madman, I remember seeing you guys as a tag team several times early on, and that always left an impression on me. I thought you guys looked like a couple badasses.
Oh yeah, man, we had fun together, man. Because back then they were pushing us both on TV. I mean, just plugging the hell out of us, jobber, And they was feeding us constantly enhancement guys, right, to get this tag over, because they were trying to put me and Luger. They were trying to put me and Motor City against Luger and Vader. Mm-hmm. See? So they were pushing us to get us stronger and stronger and stronger. And we had fun. We rode together. We hung out together. I mean, we had a good time together, man. I mean, I got along with a lot of guys pretty easy. It wasn't hard for me to get along with everybody. But like those few I told you about, I had to get them straight,
Yeah. Had to work them out.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of experiences around Sting when he was in WCW?
Oh yeah. Oh, Sting was a pretty cool guy. I mean, we wrestled a few times on the road, and then we did a TV taping we did a match on TV, and I remember we was in. This is funny. We was in when we did the Meadowlands, that football helmet match I had with Luger. Sting had something to do with that in the dressing room, putting it together. Now, remember I told you earlier that I used to drive everywhere, and I drove to New York, and I was just tired, man. So here we are in the dressing room. This it was Paulie and Sting. They were going over the finish, right? And I'm sitting in the chair in the dressing room, and I'm tired, so I doze off. And I kept dozing off, And I dozed off, and I heard this cat, and it was Sting, He and everybody just busted out laughing. I'm going like, what the hell's going on, man? They go, man, they're giving you the finish. They're giving us the finish. You're over snoring, man. I'm going like, oh, man, I'm sorry, man. I've been driving all night. I'm tired as hell. You know what I'm saying? And so they finally fit. And then Sting was like, Cat, I can't believe you fell asleep during the finish. I was like, Sting, if you drove down the highway like I've been driving, brother, you'd be tired too. Because me and Luger, that was a gimmick match anyway, that football helmet match, but it was fun, because Lawrence Taylor was involved in it, and he was in the Meadowlands, and back then he was over. Back then, with the Giants and all that, and him and Paulie were, I think him and Paulie were together, and we had our little football helmet match, but Yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there, that part about the dressing room part where I was just dozing off and Sting, yell, "Hey, cat, wake up, hot damn it, But then we had our matches. We had a couple matches with him. Now the match we had on TV, I really didn't like that match too good because it seemed like we wasn't on the same page on that match. If you watch that match, you can see we messed up some spots, a couple things in the match, where I went over, he's supposed to do a dive, but he didn't. He landed on the apron. I'm sitting there selling, waiting for him, and I'm surprised they didn't cut somewhere to the fans so we can fix it, you know what I mean? Other than that, we got on pretty good.
Now, is this the time, too, to bring back to your other point about calling it in the ring? Was this still around the time where you guys...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back then, that's what I'm saying. Because we didn't go over there in the dressing room. We might have pointed out a couple things, you know what I'm saying? At this time you might do that, and that's it. And then we had to finish, okay? And, but the finish got messed up. Because we almost went past TV time, so we just ended up, I called him flat. He was working on my leg, I working on his leg. He was kicking me, making a comeback, and finally he does a flying crossbody. I catch him, he falls back 1, 2, 3 real quickly. And that was the end of that match, see. But that's how they got it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's how it be. Back then, that's how it was back then, because the ref's got a piece in his ear. He said, all right, you got 30 seconds. You got a minute. And if you got to hurry up and finish up within that time frame, or it's gonna be ding, 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 and they don't want that. They want you to finish the match like it's drawn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and Elegante.
Oh Lord. Yeah, we had a match in Japan. That was my first trip in Japan. WCW went over there. We went over there as a group with New Japan, and we did a big show at the Tokyo Dome. And my first match over there was with him, man. And I was just excited to be in Japan, okay? Now, when it came to wrestling him, I mean, we got along great back then. But in the match, when they told me what the match was going to be like, because he was a giant, ain't much I can do. And they're just like, do what you can, And so the only thing I didn't want to do was that damn suplex or slam because it was so far up, you feel me? And when we started to do all that, I just wanted to hurry up and get it over with and going back to the dressing room, drink some more of those freaking Japanese beers, you know what I'm saying? Because they had them all in the dressing room and had food and everything. It was like a vacation, really. And that was my first big time, 100,000 people in there, man. I mean, it was amazing, I just wish I had a better match with somebody else. Mm-hmm. But, hey, it's in the history books. I had to wrestle with him, But later on down the line, when we got in WWF, man, he used to, like, stooge on me with Vince all the time. Like we used to ride together. And Joey Morales would be the driver. And I'd be up behind Joey, and he'd be in the seat by himself so he can lay it back. And I'd doze off, back then I snore like a freaking bull, and he'd get upset and stooge me off to Vince, can't be farting and schnoring, he'd tell him I'd fart and snore and shit like that, try to get me fired, And once I heard about that, I was like, oh, well, I guess we're not cool no more, It's like, dude, we're tired, we're on the road, man, come on now. You don't have to stooge to the freaking boss about me falling asleep and farting and shit, you know what I mean? Everybody does it. Hell, he did it, ran us out the car,
But you didn't stooge on him,
Never. I wasn't a stooge,
Yeah.
bro. I didn't stooge on people. That wasn't my thing. That being a stooge is not what you want to be in wrestling. You don't want to get that reputation because you can't get a ride. See, because a lot of guys, you passenger up. So you don't have to pay that whole bill, the gas and the trans. You passenger up 4 guys to a car, because back then we had town cars and Cadillacs, right? And so you get at least 4 guys to a car, and you split the cost. I mean, some guys that made more money, they didn't charge you. They just let you ride with them, or you drove. And I did a lot of the driving. When me, Harley, and Luger were together, I did all the driving, see, because those guys wanted to drink and shit. Then they go play golf all day, and then they sleep on the way to the town and to the city, and I drive, which I didn't mind. I mean, that's just how it was back then. I was the new guy on the scene, so I'm learning the ropes, and that's just the way it was back then,
One more thing about that Elegante match,
Yeah.
just generally, was it hard psychology-wise to
Yeah.
wrestle someone that's that? Because
Yeah,
you're the big guy.
It really was. I mean, because when we were in the back, I'm sitting there figuring, I'm saying, what can I do with this guy, right? And so once we got to the ring, we go to do something, and I'm sitting there punching on him, and he's not even selling it. And then he gives me a big old freaking forearm smash, and I'm selling that, and then finally he picks me up, throws the front face chin lock to do a suplex to me, and he's standing there for a second. So I'm just sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting, and he's trying to get the people to pop, Finally, I said, oh shit, here it comes. Finally, he gets me up, and we up in freaking sky, and finally here comes the bump, and I'm going, and that ring was hard as this freaking table. And I hit took the bump, and I'm saying, oh shit, damn, that hurt. Then finally picks me up and gives me the big finish, and that was 1, 2, 3, and that was it,
Yeah.
And we get to the back, and I'm going like, I barely worked up a sweat on that one. But I had opportunity to work in the Tokyo Dome, though.
Yeah.
In front of 100,000 people. So that was awesome.
And you got paid good, I'm sure.
Got paid. Well, that was regular pay. That even though we went to Japan, that was the regular pay. That was your regular weekly house pay. Wasn't nothing different.
Okay.
Even though we went to Japan, man, same pay. Like the other superstars probably got more, like Flair and Luger, because their contracts are different.
Mm-hmm.
But the other guys who had basic contracts, every other week pay, whatever your salary was, and what they paid you accordingly. If it was $200,000, you got that every other week. Payoff wise. So that's how it was with everybody else. All the big names, they probably got better money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the WWF part. Now I remember I had said earlier I knew Sarge from my AWA days,
Mm-hmm.
and I went all over the country touring. Went to Japan, went to Puerto Rico a lot, working Abdullah and working Carlos Colon. I hated those matches because those guys wanted to bleed all the time. And one day I was over in Puerto Rico, and I just came back from a gig that night, and my phone was flashing. The message light was flashing red. I said, what the hell is this? So I picked it up and hit the button. I said, yeah, how do I retrieve these messages on this phone here? She goes, yeah, hit such button. So I hit the button, and it's Sarge. And he goes, hey, Curtis, this is Sarge, WWF. We're going to be down in, I think it's Savannah. He goes, we're going to be on Savannah such a date. Want to see if you're available. Vince want to take a look at you, right? I was like, he goes, when are you going to be back from Puerto Rico? I was like, I'm leaving in the morning. I'm done. This tour is over. We just did our last show tonight. And he goes, all right, when you get back home, call me so we can get everything worked out. So get back home, call him, gives me the date to go to Savannah, Georgia. He goes, bring your stuff with you. We want to take a look at you. So that day came, and I got in the car and headed to Savannah. And I get to Savannah, to the arena, and I go in, and I say, yeah, I'm supposed to meet Sarge here, whatever. And Sarge come walking down. Hey, Sarge, how you doing? Hey, what's up, Curtis? How you doing? Hey, Vince want to talk to you. So he goes in, we go in the office, Vince's office there, and shook his hand and met him. And that was the first time I ever met Vince in the whole 9 yards. And he goes, yeah, man, Curtis, we like what we see, man. We love that gimmick. We want you to put that gimmick on, and we're going to see what you can do out here in front of these people. And that was my first opportunity to show them the character. Now, in the dressing room, I'm asking all these other guys in the dressing room, hey man, what I need to do out there, to get a job, what they looking for, stuff like that. Now, for what they told me, I can tell they were ribbing me. Oh, Curtis, you got to go out there and you got a job, you got to sell for the jobber, and you got to bump for the jobber and all this shit. I'm going, yeah, right. So anyway, I get dressed and I'm looking at the lineup, and so my time is coming. So I go to the grill position. So I'm just waiting, nervous as hell. And so grill is there, and he goes, "All right, Curtis, you're up. Go out there and do your thing." And so went out the curtain, and I put Mr. Hughes on, boy. The frown, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I was working, okay? And they had a jobber in the ring for me. And I went out there and I did my thing. I mean, I did drop kicks, I did power slams, I did choke slams. I did everything. Flying elbow drops, everything. 1, 2, 3. Got my hand raised, went to the back. All right. Went through the grill position. They said, all right, okay, go get dressed. Vince want to talk to you. So I went to the dressing room, put my street clothes back on. I took my gimmick off, put my street clothes back on, went and talked to Vince. He goes, "Hey, you look good. We can do some business. We're going to get the contract to you. We're going to pay you this much. We'll get the contract. We'll FedEx it to you. Blah, blah. Go put your stuff back on. We're going to do some TV taping to get you caught up to speed." I was like, "What?" Because they never did that before. He goes, "Yeah, go put your stuff back on. We got to do some TV taping to get you caught up to speed with the fans, on TV." And so I went back in the dressing room, and I pulled my bag back out, and I'm pulling my stuff back out the bag. And the guy's just like, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, Vince told me to come back in and put my stuff on. They're going to do my first TV tapings." They go, "Damn, they never did that before." And I was like, when I got dressed before I went back to the grill position, I said, "Did that mean I got a job now or what?" Went out there, they did 3 TV tapings with 3 jobbers. And I was, I said, "I guess I got the gig." And I got the gig that night. And here's the thing, man. Vince always took care of me because I was there 3 different times. I was there when I took the Undertaker's urn. I was there with Triple H. And I was there with Y2J. So he liked the character, and he liked the way I worked, the whole 9 yards. So, you got people, they say bad things about the guy, but he took care of me. I don't have anything bad to say about Vince because he took care of me,
Was it intimidating at all just from hearing about him or knowing what he had going on?
No. See, I respected Vince. I always called him Mr. McMahon because he'd tell me, call me Vince. I was like, "Shit, you the boss, man. I'm going to call you Mr. McMahon." And that's what I called him, And because I appreciated him giving me opportunity. And they gave me a push right off the bat, see. Because as a big guy, the stuff I was doing was impressive to him, Drop kicking guys like the Undertaker in the head, both feet, taking big bumps for people. I loved it. It was great. And I loved that ring, that WWF ring, because they had real ropes. They slung real good. You could hit them hard and fast. And that's the way I teach too,
When you came into the WWF, it seemed like Vince McMahon must have fallen in love with you immediately.
He did.
He had a lot of guys that were in there that he pushed to, but not like this, because even against established guys, you were getting wins nonstop.
Right. So when he came to me about this is funny. We were in the dressing room one day. This match is on YouTube. It was me and IRS and the $1 Million Man. We was in a six man. We were fighting the Nasty Boys and Kamala. Now in the dressing room, IRS was like, I think it was DiBiase. "Hey Vince, what you want the finish to be?" DiBiase was asking Vince what he wanted the finish to be, and Vince said, "Come up with something," and then let me know. And so they're in the dressing room. I'm just sitting there chilling, just listening to him come up with the finish. And the finish was supposed to be on me. They were going to, I was going to do the job, right? And so finally Vince comes back in and they say, Vince said, "You got to finish?" He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna get it on Curtis." Vince says, No, I got plans for him. Put it on Kamala. That's why when you see that match, you see Kamala is the one that got beat, you see. Because Vince told him no, he had plans for me. Now, a week later, that's when he pulled me in the office and said, "All right, here's what we're going to do." Because at the time, Elegante, he was running an angle with the Undertaker, but that wasn't making no money. That wasn't drawing, see. And so that's when he pulled me in the office and set me down and said, "Hey, Curtis, this is what we're going to do tonight. You're going to go out there. You're going to sidewalk slam Paul Bearer and take that urn, and then you're going to beat the hell out of the Undertaker with it. I'm sitting there going, I'm waiting to see what balloons and firecrackers are going to pop off, like Love American style, like this is the biggest rib of all time, you know? But it was a shoot. He goes, yeah, you're going to go out there, you're going to take that urn, you're going to parade it up and walk down the freaking runway and take it from him. I was like, no way. I said to myself, ain't no way. And sure enough, it happened. And when that happened, it pissed a lot of guys off. Because here's the thing, a lot of people don't understand about WWF and how it works. Say, for example, if you're Hogan and you're the star, you got an A team and a B team, right? Hogan was always on the A team. And then you had like Macho Man, he was the B team. So it was 2 shows going on in different states. And everybody wanted to be on the A team that Hogan was on because you knew it was going to be sold out, okay? And Hogan and Undertaker were top dogs, and Bret Hart, of course. But Hogan and Undertaker were the ones you wanted to work because those are the money guys, okay? And so here's a line of guys. You got the Undertaker right here, and you got all these guys waiting in line to wrestle him, see, to get their opportunity. And so here I am. They brung me in. I'm already in the back of the line, going to wait my turn. So Vince brings me in, the company. We're in the back of the line, but it takes me from back of the line and takes me and puts me way in the front of everybody else. So all these guys are pissed that's waiting to get their turn, okay? And so here I am. I'm in the front of the line now. Here's my opportunity to work the Undertaker and do my thing, which it went great. But it was a lot of stooges, see, because they were hating on me because I got that spot. And I was getting over with him every night. You see, me and Undertaker, man, we had some good matches, man, but people started stooging me off, telling lies to Vince, see, and which they weren't true. And, you know, when you get so many people saying the same damn thing, eventually they be going like, hey, you know, that's why the run didn't last that long. You know, a lot of people asked me about what happened. I was like, that's what happened. Folks stooging you off about just a bunch of lies, you know. Because, you know, back in the old days, in our WCW days, everybody did drugs. Everybody did it. And so what they tried to do was bring that WCW garbage up to WWF, which I was clean as a freaking church whore, man. I mean, I didn't do nothing. I mean, I'd be a damn fool to do something like that because I was making some serious cash. You hear me? Working with the Undertaker in the main event casket matches every freaking night, sold out. We're the main ones on this show. And we're selling the building out because people wanted to see him get that urn back, see? Which he never did. That's why I walk around with it all the time when I do shows because it makes me money, okay? And so that's the reason why that angle didn't last long because of the Stooges, because of what I just said. They took me from way in the back of the line and stuck me in the front. But it was good while it lasted, though, you know, because it didn't hurt my career at all because Vince knew that shit wasn't real. That's why he kept bringing me back. And back and back. You know, I was back there 3 different times, you see. And so, you know, I have none. Vince was good to me.
Can you talk about your feud with The Undertaker and what it was, where it was leading to before it got somewhat cut short? Because, I mean, I remember seeing it and it was building up. This is a major angle.
It was, man. It was the biggest angle in my career, and I was excited about it. And I was real careful, though. I mean, I was real careful. I didn't hang out with a bunch of people back then. You know, it was either me and Harvey. We rode together all the time, or I rode with the Harts. It was a small group of people because I didn't want people going around lying and like they end up doing anyway. Okay, but the angle with the Undertaker, man, it was an awesome thing. I mean, I looked forward to it every night. We had casket matches, but the only thing I didn't like was getting in the box because it was a real casket. But one night they played a rib on me because they knew I was nervous about getting in that box. And the first night we did it, we had the match. The thing I loved about working the Undertaker, he let you beat the hell out of him. See, he know he's going over. He let you beat him pillar to post, and he'd tell you, you know, throw me through here, throw me through the steps, throw me through the railing, throw me, do whatever. And then when it was time for him to tombstone you and roll you and put you in the damn box, that's what you had to do. And so when my time came to go in the box, they rolled me. I'm sweating like a hog too. I mean, they rolled me in the box. I can't breathe. It's hot as hell in there. and they push the box. Fans are hitting the damn box on the way back. And they finally get me to the box, and I'm trying to push that sucker, but it wouldn't open. So, because they played the rib, they told the gimmick guy to make sure it locked on me. So I'm sitting there going, oh no, and I'm freaking out. Get me out of this damn casket, hot damn it. And finally it popped open. And I get up out of that damn thing, and I'm looking around, there's nobody. So I found Harvey. Harvey coming running in. Like, hey, what the hell happened, cat? I'm going like, man, the damn door locked on me. I couldn't get out. He goes, really? I said, yeah, man, where's that prop guy at, man? So I found the prop guy. I said, hey, man, can you make, because we had more matches to do. I said, hey, man, can you make sure this damn thing don't lock no more, man? I couldn't breathe in here. You know, I'm already blowed up from the match, you know, because we was going through the match and come back, and I'm already huffing and puffing. He tombstone me, then rolled me in the box, see? So I didn't have a chance to cool off yet. So I'm sitting going, getting hyperventilating and shit, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it was a trip. We did that every night. But that first night, they locked it on me, you know, but working with Mark was amazing, man. I wish it would have went longer. Because I know he enjoyed working with me too, because we made each other look good. We made each other shine. And the only match that they really have, I'm pretty sure they got some. They just ain't put them up yet. They ain't put them out in the world. Somebody was there and they had a camera that they did, some fan probably, that they put on YouTube. But they got a couple of matches that they don't have online. I don't know where you're going to get them at, but there's some out there we did. Yeah. Good matches too.
Maybe that Vault channel that they have now will start releasing some of that.
I hope so, man. I hope so, because it'll definitely give me a shot in the arm, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully this too, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah. Looking forward to that too, man, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
Now, just to wrap up The Undertaker, did Vince tell you anything further that it was going to go with that angle, or before they kind of stopped it, or was...
No, it was supposed to run... It was supposed to run quite a long way, because nobody never seen Undertaker get beat down like that. They never seen him not raise up and stuff, because they never seen him and Paul Bearer just laying out flat, right? And so that supposedly went further, because they was going to eventually have us going against in SummerSlam and WrestleMania. I mean, the whole 9 yards. I suppose did all that stuff, but the Stooges kind of killed it, man. I mean, like I told you earlier, man. They took me from way in the back of the line and stuck me in front of all these other guys that thought they was going to have their turn, and they didn't have their turn.
Yeah.
You know,
so people sabotaging you from the back.
Oh, yeah, man. Like I tell people, this is cutthroat wrestling. Professional wrestling is cutthroat when you get to a certain level. Don't think it's peaches and cream at the top. It ain't. That's why you got to be real careful. There's not a lot of friends you can call friends in the wrestling business. Everybody's trying to get to that main dance. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so you got to be real careful on who you hang out with and who your friends are and all that shit. Because if not, and you get a push and somebody get jealous, here they come. Here come the Stooges. Yeah. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's doing this. He's doing that. And Vince was the type of guy, he did not like headaches. You know? That was the highlight of my career, was working The Undertaker, man. I wish it would have went a little further. And then after I left and came back a second time, they stuck me with Triple H. Yeah. And that was going good for a while, and then I got hurt. And then they brung in China, and then, you know, I left and then came back again, and they stuck me with Jericho, and then got hurt working the Dudley Boys, and then sent me to Memphis to rehab and do matches there, and then the contract was done there too. So, you know, either way you look at it, I wish all of them were longer.
Sure.
But like I said, I'm happy I had the opportunity to be there 3 times. You know.
Yeah, and there were some matches I wanted to ask you about from the WWF days, because I found it really interesting. You were, not only did you come in, you didn't have to just go over a bunch of preliminary jobbers, so to speak.
Right.
You had established guys. I saw you wrestled Bob Backlund.
Oh yeah. I remember wrestling Bob. You know, it was a pleasure working him, because he was an old timer. He was a veteran, and I had the opportunity to work him, man. Just like I was talking earlier about Bob Backlund, but the champ for AWA. I just said his name. Bockwinkel. I had the opportunity to work Bockwinkel too. You see, so in my career, man, I got the opportunity to work a lot of old timers that that were on top back in their day. You know what I'm saying? And so when I got an opportunity to work Bob Backlund, man, that was a shit. I was like, hell yeah, man, he was just freaking WWF champion too. So I got a chance to work these superstar champions as well, you know, before the time came for them to retire and stuff like that. Same thing, I got an opportunity to work Bret Hart, Macho Man, freaking Duggan, all of them, you know, all of them. And you know, I got that in my resume for the rest of my life, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, that's the part that I can tell, you know, my trainees, you know, what it's like to work with a superstar that way, and like these cats that I train that are in WWE now and AEW, man, they get an opportunity to, you know, get out there and perform with superstars as well, you know. So that's the fun part about training people and doing what I've done in my career, you know.
Bret Hart, you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I remember he, not too long before that, he won the title from Ric Flair, so he was already
Right.
kind of top of the mountain. And you're right here in the program, winning the matches and
Right.
stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So how did that feel?
Well, I remember when Bret when they started my Undertaker deal. Now all these stars had to get my hand raised, all of them. Anybody they stuck me with had to get my hand raised. Excuse me, and Bret was one of them. And I remember one night we was at a show, and I was going to wrestle Bret, and we're in the dressing room talking about what we're going to do, how we're going to have our match. And he really, really didn't want to do the 1, 2, 3. He really didn't want to do it. But Vince, you know, that's what he wanted, you know, because I'm working my way towards the Undertaker. So you got to make me look stronger, right? And so finally, we're in the dressing room talking, and I'm going like, whatever you want to do, Bret, whatever you want to do. But they want a 1, 2, 3 though, because he was trying to come up with something else, like a DQ or something like that. And because the agent kept saying, you know, we need a finish, we need a finish, we need a 1, 2, 3 finish, we need a 1, 2, 3 finish. Then they leave the dressing room, and they come back, and Bret was trying to talk him out of it. You know, he goes, no, we need a 1, 2, 3 finish. That's what Vince wants. And so finally, Bret says, he just says, okay, we're gonna finally let me do a finish, a 1, 2, 3 finish. But he didn't lay there long. He got the 1, 2, 3 and rolled out, you know. Sold his ass on back to the dressing room. But he did the 1, 2, 3, you know. But we had a damn good match though. I mean, he sold for me, I sold for him. I mean, we worked together, man. And when that match was over, I was like, damn, I got to work with Bret Hart. Hot damn it. You know, I felt like, you know, new kid on the block, just having fun, man. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to work with, you know, all these other superstars. Macho Man, he had to get my hand raised. And Duggan, all these stars that were there, you know, I had to get my hand raised, you know. And I'm going like, damn, this is serious business here. I get to, you know, work with all these guys, and they get my hand raised and everything. And then the time came to get the Undertaker's urn, and I see why now.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
It did.
Yeah.
It did. Can you dig a little deeper into that Randy Savage stuff too? I find that fascinating. A 2-time world champ before this, you know, kind of before he went to WCW. This is one of his last kind of big programs with you.
Well, Randy was pretty. We had decent matches. I know we had one match where he just wanted me to just beat him up. You know, I mean, he just throw me here, slam me here, throw me by the hair, do this. I mean, I'm going like, I don't want to kill you. But he was trying to get, he knew what his job was for me, was to get me over. Because they knew I was trying to draw money with the Undertaker. So we're all on the same team here. So if the place is sold out, everybody gets paid real good. So back then, you know, everybody was hoping, you know, we sell out the house before contracts start really coming out. If the house is sold out, that means your weekly check's gonna be fat. You know what I'm saying? So his job, when Vince told him we need to get Curtis over, he knew what his job was, and a few others did too. But some of them head was so big as this freaking room, man. They was like, I don't want to really do it like that, you know. But he was one of them that really, he was a team player, man. Freaking Macho Man. He was a good guy, man. I really enjoyed him, man. He made me look like $1 million. I tried to make him look like $1 million, but he just beat the hell out of me, beat me up, you know. This is for you. This is for you. That's what he would tell me. I'm sitting there pounding on him, beating him up, throwing him in. I mean, doing my thing, man. He goes, this for you, brother. You know, then we get to the back, and He goes, shake my hand and says, how was that? I'm going, well, shit, you know, you took a butt whipping for me pretty good. You're Macho Man, so that means that put me up a few pegs, you know. Okay. Same thing with the other guys, you know.
Yeah.
And when they put me over, I'd shake their hand, thank them for making me look like $1 million, you know, and it all worked out, you know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
With that Randy Savage match, he was known too. I guess he was trying to put his matches together in the back. He was one of the first guys. Did he do that with you, or did you guys call it out there?
Well, we were in the back talking about it, but being that Vince was trying to push me, you know, he didn't really put too much emphasis on him getting over. He's just using the name to get me over. He just wanted to let me do my thing to him. I mean, I'd let him do a few things. He'd call a couple things, and I'd let him do his thing, and then he'd tell me to cut him back off and get back on him, you know, throw him around like a rag doll, you know, like Andre did to him. But I didn't want to hurt the guy, you know, because he was wanting me to do some crazy shit to him, man. I was like, you want me to do that? Ain't doing that. No. You got to get over, brother. You got to get over. Vince is pushing, you know. And that's the part I liked about Macho. He was honest about that shit, man. I mean, some guys wasn't. He'd tell you why you wrestling him, see. He would say, hey, this is for you, man. Vince is pushing you, so we need to get you over. And that was what you call professional right there. There was a few of them I wrestled that was that way, but some of them, man, their head was so damn big, man, they just did not want to get you over. They didn't want to do the 1, 2, 3. They didn't mind getting you over. They just didn't want to do that 1, 2, 3, see.
Yeah. Because
they thought it would kill them, you know. But the bottom line was, that what the man told you he wanted, that's what you're supposed to do, or you're going to be in breach, and there go your damn job. Or they're going to start jobbing you first, then fire you. And, you know, damn that. You know, I did whatever they told me to do. I mean, I was under contract, man, but they was pushing me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did my thing, you know. And the thing I really didn't like was my last run up there when I was with Jericho. I didn't really like that run. I was getting anxiety attacks and shit, you know. I've been doing this so long, man, but I'd go out there with him and I just wasn't feeling right, man. I was like, damn it, you know, nervous and everything. And then when we had our match together, man, you can tell when you watch that match, I was not in it. I mean, I let him beat me up too much. I really wasn't in it. I wasn't Mr. Hughes in that match. That's why I hated for him to put it on TV. I was like, damn it, they put that damn match on TV. I didn't like that match. Because I knew I was like, wasn't there, man. I was like, because I didn't like the gimmick. I wanted to be the Mr. Hughes back to the suit and ties gimmick, you know. Because I know when I was with Triple H, I was the butler, Mr. Hughes, and I still had the black suit on and the hat, the whole 9 yards, and the shades. But then when I switched to Jericho's gimmick, I wanted to be like more like him. So I asked him. He the one that gave me that shirt. Because the runner had went to the mall to look for another shirt, but they couldn't find one, and there was TV taping. So I said, "Damn, Jericho, I can't find the shirt." He goes, "Here, you can have this one." That's when I had took to the seamstress and had to cut the sleeves off so I could show my guns and everything, you know. And that's when my body transformed to this different looking guy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a big adjustment from the previous character you were portraying for your whole most of your career.
Right.
At this point.
It was. I didn't like it, to be honest with you, but it was a gig.
Yeah. It
was a gig, man. And, you know, and each time I was there, I was always in a good position, you know. I was always with a named guy. So my contracts were always pretty good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the money was great. It just didn't last long, you know.
How did that whole thing come about for you? Did they just call you, Vince call you? Or?
Well, what happened with that one was when they brought me back my second time, because I didn't know what they were going to do with me. And I asked Vince, I was like, what are you gonna do? You want me to do the same gimmick, whatever? He goes, yeah, I'm gonna do this other gimmick I had with you. You're gonna still be the bodyguard, but you're gonna be like this butler, because they was trying to work his gimmick with, and my character is his bodyguard / character butler. And so Vince like, you think you can find a hanky or a towel or something? You hang over your arm, just act like a butler / bodyguard. I was like, yeah, I can go ask prop, see if they got it. He goes, go do that and then come back. So I went to go prop, and I was like, yeah, Vince told me he needs me to do, like a butler type of towel or something. And they made something and gave it to me, and I went back to Vince, and I was like, So you want me to hang this on my arm like this? And he just be the gimmick. But you're a butler though, / bodyguard. So I'm supposed to hold this towel and still use the frown and the suit, the whole 9 yards. But I'm gonna be with Triple H now. And he goes, you're his butler / bodyguard, okay? Mm-hmm. And I'm going like, oh shit, how am I supposed to do this? You know, so I'm figuring out how to be a butler. But I already know how to do a bodyguard gimmick, but he goes, just stand there with the towel. Just stand there with the gimmick. That's all you need to do. And, be methodical and so forth and so on. And that's what I did. And it was the simplest freaking gimmick you could do. And, when the time was right, we'd work out something where I'd do something dirty, to help him win, like the match he had at Royal Rumble. And he had worked Dustin Rhodes. And my deal was to pop up and distract, and the finish was Dustin would burn me with the cigar, and I'd go down, and the match would continue, whatever. But that was it. That was the last. And then I did something with him in Sweet Chin Music, where I'd run in and he'd give me a super kick, and then after that was the end of that run. It didn't last long.
Did you say you got hurt during that run, or was that the second one, the third one when you went back?
Both of them I got hurt on. Yeah. Both of them I got hurt on, man, and just shit happened. Now the last one was we were working the Dudley Boys, and they went to go give me their finish, and I bent wrong and pulled the quad, and then after I rehabbed, they sent me to Memphis. And then did the Memphis territory for a while, and then after that, the contract was done. So that was the end of that run.
How different was the company at this time from, this is like the Monday Night War kind of era, then versus WCW or in the ratings, but it's kind of the tail end of that. What was the atmosphere versus the early 90s when you were there?
Well, it was pretty much about the same when I was there. From the first time to the second time and the third time. The third time when I was there with Jericho, it was pretty much starting to go this way, because Stone Cold was starting to take off. Him and The Rock were starting to take off. That's when they were starting to let The Rock do his thing. Because I remember in the dressing room every night, Rock be sitting over here, we all getting dressed. And Rock be with his notebook writing all the shit down he gonna say in the ring, right? Mm-hmm. And I'd ask him, I say, yo, hey, Dwayne, you gonna say all that, man? He goes, I'm gonna try. And once Vince let him get out there and start talking, and Vince realized that the people were starting to come with him, he let the reins go with him. He goes, oh, shit. And every night he'd get out there and he'd sit in the dressing room, write everything he's gonna say, and go out, word for word now, and go out there and say it. And he would get over. And I would like, yeah, brother, you're going to do real good. Yeah, the way you talking like that, I mean, because when I see these guys, even from Stone Cold to The Rock, and we in the dressing room hanging out, and I'm talking to them and watching, because I remember Stone Cold when he was in WCW days, he was stunning Steve, mm-hmm. But they really didn't know how to push him. They didn't know how to use him, see? But when he came to WWF, he already had a plan, what he was going to do. He had a plan for that gimmick, that Stone Cold gimmick. He already had a plan. I remember when he was talking about it one day. And I was like, shit, that's a good damn gimmick if they let you go, if Vince let you use it. And one day he went to Vince one day and convinced Vince to let him try it one day on TV taping, and it got over. And next thing you know, that era took off. Yeah. Yeah, that King of the Ring, yeah. I loved working Kurt, man. I mean, he was the best. That guy he was amazing. He let you beat the hell out of him. I mean, I'd make him look good too. I mean, I watched that match, a couple weeks ago. And, he made me look like $1 million, man. But I made him look like $1 million too, because I'd fly for him and take good high bumps for him, backdrops, hip tosses, you name it, to get the match over. We wanted to do more, but we only had a certain amount of time. to do it. But out of all the guys I ever wrestled in my whole career, he's one of the best that I enjoyed really performing outside of Brad Armstrong, man. But freaking Kurt Hennig, man, he was amazing to work with. And King of the Ring match, man, I wish I would have had more matches with him, you know?
Yeah, you could have had a whole series with him.
Yeah, it would have been nice, yeah.
What was the vibe like in the locker room this was like 93, so I think like the steroid trial days. How was the atmosphere, and was there a lot of concern? Were there people trying to...
in the WWF?
Yeah, when you were there? Like, because you got there right around 93.
Well, back then, the steroid thing was kind of on the down low, because I think prior to that, some shit was going on with Hogan and Vince, I think. And they were shutting all that down. Now, when I was in WCW, that's a different ball game. You got a guy coming in with a Halliburton case, and he opened it up, and there's all the juice in there, everything you need in this Halliburton briefcase, you see. But in WWF, it was kind of different, because guys were starting to fall off and act a fool and get in trouble.
Yeah. So
Vince changed everything on the juice thing, you know. But they were testing then. See, everybody's still getting tested. So it wasn't like it was back in the old days. You know what I'm saying? But when I was up there, they did piss tests all the time. They'd pop one on you in a minute. You know.
I talked to the late Matt Bourne years ago. He said when he was doing the Doink the Clown thing, someone stooged him out for smoking a joint or something in the hotel, and he got fired. Or he was saying stuff like that was happening. Was that your experience?
Man. Yeah. That's what happened with me too. You know, somebody stooged on me and said I was doing drugs, and I wasn't. Just because I had that run with the Undertaker. And that's how he got, but he was doing it though. I mean, you know, shit, like I said, when it was in WCW, everybody partied. But he didn't quit. When he got the gimmick, when he got the Doink gimmick, he was kind of doing it on the down low, see? But he was like coming late and missing shows and shit. That's how he got caught, because he wasn't showing up. And they can tell he was on something. And then when they tested him, then they found it, see? And then that's when they canned him, see? And then they really started getting strict after all that. They started testing guys, piss testing guys. You pull up like with me, when they were stoozing on me, I'm riding with the Harts, with Brad and Owen, and we were on the California loop, and we were going to Anaheim, California. Now there was one more show on the loop. So anyway, we get to the building, we park the car, get our bags, and walk up the ramp up towards the dressing room area. Now, when we get to the top, I see this one guy in the hall with a butcher jacket on, right? Doctor coat, you know. And so we get up close, and as soon as we get closer, one of the agents say, "Hey, Curtis, they need you to come in the room. They need to talk to you about something." So I get in the room and they say, "Yeah, we need you to piss in this cup." I'm going like, "Huh? We need you to piss in the cup." I'm going like, "What do I need to piss in the cup for?" They go, "They just need you to piss in the cup." So anyway, Bret and Owen, they're standing by the door and they're waving me over to the door. And I go, "Just a second." So I go over to them and I go, "Yeah, what's up, guys?" They go, "If I was you, I wouldn't do it, man." I was like, "Shit, if I don't, they're going to think I'm guilty." He goes, "Yeah, but, you know, just say, you know, if they don't, you know, if they don't make everybody else do it." I was like, "Man, I ain't doing that shit. I'm not guilty." So I went ahead and pissed in it anyway. So I pissed in the cup, and I had I had a match with the Undertaker that night. Place sold out, and so I pissed in the cup, and then I go get dressed, put my stuff on, get ready for the match. And so right before the match with the Undertaker, they say, "Hey, Curtis, Vince wants you to, after this match, they're going to put you on the red eye. They're going to send you home. He's going to call you on Monday." What? I said, no, we got one more freaking show. We got one more show. We got one more town to hit. He goes, "Well, he wants you to go on home. They're going to send you on the red eye." So I'm sitting there going, "Hot damn it." Because it takes, because I said I didn't flunk because they didn't test it yet. But they sent me home, and I waited that Monday. So I called the office, and the secretary, I said, "Yes, it's Curtis, you know. Hang on for Vince." He gets on the phone, and he's talking, and well, Curtis, and it's starting to song and dance, and I'm going like, oh, shit, this ain't going well. But I had to earn, see? So he goes, all right, this is what I need you to do. He goes, I need you to call Adam Bomb and give him that urn. I was like, whoa, wait a minute now. What, hold it. What you talking about? Give him the urn. What? And, what are you talking about? He goes, well, we're going to give you a break for a while, till everything simmers down. And I'm going like, come on, man, no way. I was pissed. I ain't lying. I almost was like, I'm about to go kill somebody. But I got my head together, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how mad I was, because I was making some serious bread, you know what I mean? Working this guy. We were selling out arenas all over the country, casket matches, and someone stooged me off because they got mad because they didn't get that spot. That's how serious it was. And I was like, I wonder who in the hell stooged me off like that. You can't, because I know wasn't doing anything, okay? Because they told me to go home that night. They don't test for piss that damn early. You got to send it to a freaking lab. And so, because I knew I wasn't doing nothing anyway. But anyway, I got on the red eye, went home, and, I lost my gig, man. That's how I lost that Undertaker gig, because somebody stooged me off over some bullshit.
Did you find out who did it?
No, I never did.
No?
Never did. Even though I talked to Harvey, my old manager, old Bruno, I asked him, I said, man, you ever know who stooged me off, man? He goes, he probably don't want to tell me. He probably know, but he gonna kayfabe me to the dirt,
Yeah.
Because he was like a runner for years, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're good friends, but he was there for a long, long time. He know a lot of stuff, but he wouldn't tell me. He probably didn't want me to. He probably just don't want me to know. He probably think I'll go out and do something to the person, you know what I'm saying? Which I don't blame him. I probably would. I don't know. I'm over it.
Did you hear this? I heard this recently. It was on the Jim Ross podcast.
Okay.
Jim Ross said that back right after WrestleMania 9, Chief Jay Strongbow saw you sleeping in the airport snoring, and he ratted on you, trying to get you fired?
Yep.
You knew
I
about
heard that? Oh, yeah. Man, guys used to tell me things. Because, guys liked it, me. You know what I'm saying? They would tell me stuff. And I remember that day in the airport. I was tired, man, because back then they used to run the hell out of us. And then we'd have to do promos at the freaking arena. They'd have these big boxes, these promo boxes, had air conditioner flowing through them. And you go to this box, cut a promo for New York, go to this box, cut a promo for St. Louis, go to this box, cut a promo for California, and they just ran you to death, man. And then you drove, they flew you into a city, you did the loop, then they flew you out to another city, you did the loop, then they flew you to they just had us go. And by the time, when I'm sitting in the airport, you got to catch a nap, man, because you ain't going to be worth 2 bent nickels when you get to the TV taping. So I'm sitting there just taking a nap. Now, I wouldn't have got away. I would have got away with it if I didn't snore so bad. See? And so being that I was sitting over there sleeping, they thought you was on something, man. And when they told me that shit, I was so mad. I was like, I was tired just like y'all. Y'all go to sleep on the plane. You fall asleep on the plane. Everybody falls asleep on the plane. But see, it's just that in this business, man, everybody ain't your friend. Like I tell those young cats, man, you got the Caucasian people that some of them don't like brothers that get a push. I'm being real with it. And that was my case. I got a push with the ultimate freaking baby face, which was the Undertaker. And a lot of guys didn't like that, and it pissed some people off. And I wish the business wasn't like that, but it's been like that for years, man. Like that for years. And I don't care if it's 2025, it's still the same. It's not as loud, you see. Like anybody like myself, I train all these superstars. They're on TV, they're everywhere, okay? And I didn't try to get jobs down at NXT for years. You know what I'm saying? And they give me the runaround all the time. I just want to train and teach people. I want to help the business. That's what I'm trying to do. I ain't trying to take nobody's gig. I'm not trying to take nobody's job. I just want to be in there to help the young people be better so fans can come back and watch these shows, because the shows, some of them are garbage. Some of the wrestlers are garbage. Some of the shows are garbage. Some of the talent don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to wrestle. So they're going to need an old timer that's familiar with teaching and training people the old school of wrestling, the fundamentals, like I said earlier. And if they don't get back to that, they ain't gonna have no fans going to watch it. The only time people really go is when they have like a big pay-per-view. Other than that, they got to turn the lights off at the top of the freaking stand so they can kayfabe the freaking people not being there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But I'm just being real with it, you know. I mean, I got my own school, but in the meantime, I was trying to, you know, get with them. Being I was with them 3 different times, you know, and I know what I'm doing, you know, because I have proof here. You know, I mean, you got 4 or 5 of my students at your freaking company, you know, and I can't get a job there training people. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
Not to name names, but there are some people that are training there that probably are good, but didn't have the school background, doesn't have the
Exactly.
you know, talent that had been pushed out like you did.
Exactly. See, because like I said earlier, man, to be a good wrestling trainer on top of the knowledge that you have already from being a wrestler, you got to learn how to teach and train and have a curriculum on teaching people. And once that you get that figured out and you know how to train and teach people and you know what sticks and what works and know they're going to learn from what you're giving them, then why wouldn't you not want to hire somebody to make your company better and make people come back and watching your shows? You feel me? Because if people clicking off, there's something going on here that they're not seeing that make them keep them entertained. You understand what I'm saying? Like the old days, a lot of people say, well, you know, that Stone Cold era, man, that was the best time and this and that and the other. Well, you want to get that back? You gotta train these people so they can wrestle like that, so they can entertain the people like that. If you just showing them this and that and the other and the stuff looks unbelievable, and look, I hate using this word, but that fake word, if the stuff looks unbelievable, they're not going to watch it. They're going to go watch something else. They're going to click off of it. That's why I can't watch it no more unless one of my people are on the show. Someone come on, the show will come on, or AEW or WWE come on. And I'm sitting there watching this, I'm going like, what in the hell is the psychology at? It's like Spot Fest. No holds, no holds, no good guy, bad guy stuff, no gimmicks, none of that. It's ridiculous.
This has been in the news, and you were with him. You were around Hulk Hogan in the 90s, and I'm sure other times too.
Yeah.
What are your memories of Hulk, and how do you remember him?
Well, in the earlier years, man, you know, because we was on the same show together. We was on the same card together. And he was on the A-team. I was on A-team too. And I remember when we used to be on the road, we stayed at the Marriott. And I had this girl used to hang out. Back then they called them rats. But we were good friends, you know. And so she would be with me a lot. And so she was in the room with us. We were all in Hogan's room partying, you know, having a good time, drinking and having a good time. And so she's sitting we sitting at the couch and she's kind of sitting on the floor by me. And we've all been drinking, having a good time. We're in Hogan's room now. And so, you know, I introduced her to Hogan and we're all, you know, Beefcake, everybody, we're all in the room. The Hammer, I mean, a lot of the boys in the room, we all just having a good time in the room, drinking and having a good time. And so she had been drinking, man, and so she wasn't feeling too well. She threw up on the freaking floor in Hogan's room, man. I'm going like, oh, shit, oh, no. And so I'm going, oh, man, I'm sorry, Terry, man, I'm sorry, man. And so he goes, it's all right, brother. You know, so we get it all cleaned up. And then we all went downstairs because they had a little local band playing. And they were out back on the patio at the hotel. And so Hogan, you know, I didn't know he played the bass. So he gets the bass. They said, get the bass, Terry, get the bass. So he gets the bass and start jamming with the band. I'm going like, shit, this is pretty cool, you know. But all that time, he was cool to me. We never had issues. I mean, ever, you know, until later on down the road, you know, when he got into politics and that kind of messed things up. But up to that point, man, we got along great. I never had an issue with him, never had no problem with him about anything, man. I just hated to see he went down that road, though, you know.
That was tough, right?
It was, man.
That legacy.
It was hard for me because I was like, damn, I wish we wouldn't have did that, you know? Because he was kind of like a hero, too, you know. in my young years in my profession. He was kind of like the guy to look up to. Like, you like, man, I'd like to get in his position. Shit, you know, he's the guy. You know, he's the man. You know, and people love him. I mean, he sells out houses. I mean, if you was on the A team, you know, your check was gonna be fat. I mean, that's how it was, man. You know. But yeah, he was good. He was a good guy to me. I mean, I ain't never had no issues with him.
That's good.
He wasn't a bad guy to me in earlier years. I have nothing bad to say about him back then.
Was it shocking when the Gawker stuff and the home videotapes and the audio came out?
Yeah, man. I mean, people had said things, you know, but until I saw that, I didn't believe it. You know, until you see stuff, sometimes you got to give them benefit of the doubt, right? And so when I seen that, I was like, hot damn, man, shoot. You know, it kind of changed my view of them a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I have good memories of us having a good time, but when he did that, I was like, shit, man, you know, because they were giving away these bands, these Hogan bands, yellow ones at the Gathering a few weeks ago, and I wore it for a little while at my table, but I took it off because I didn't want people seeing it, man. You know, I was like, oh, you're a Hogan mark, are you? That's all he did, you know what I mean? So I don't wear it no more. You know, I just use it. I just have it into my scrap stuff at home, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got your memories of him from before? Or how?
Yeah, like I said, the early years he was good. He was okay. He was fine. We got along great. We partied together. We had a good time. You know, he never called me no dirty words or bad names or anything like that. I never heard him say none of that, you know? So, I mean, later on down the road when things started changing and all these videos started popping up about him, then I kind of went over that. Okay, I see now, you know. Yeah. It is what it is.
Just because we're in Atlanta, I wanted to ask this. What do you know about the Gold Club that was down here?
The Gold Club. Oh, a lot of the boys used to go there. I went there a few times. Spent a lot of money in that damn place. Banged a lot of broads in there too. But that used to be the spot, you know. I mean, in the wrestling business, back in the day, a lot of the wrestlers, you know, that's how we entertained ourselves because we was on the road all the time. And we had to figure out a way to entertain ourselves. Even though some guys were married, I ain't gonna get nobody in trouble, but everybody fooled around, man. Everybody wasn't honest. Everybody wasn't faithful. You on TV, all the pretty women come at you, man. I'm talking about the most gorgeous, that's a shitty word. The most prettiest women you ever want to see, they coming at you, bro. And mama at home might look like the average mama, you feel me? But, you know, we're talking Jennifer Lopez looking beautiful women, you hear me? And so what they don't know won't hurt them, you know what I mean? I mean, I can tell you stories back in that time where, you know, you go to one of those clubs and you take one with you, you know? And the phone rings because they didn't have cell phones. You just had a landline in the room, and you just tell them to kayfabe, okay? And they know to shut up or they can't hang out with you. It's just simple as that. If you blow it, we're done. And they knew it. And so they would sit there and play along, you know? In those days, they called them rats, and those are the good old days of wrestling. I mean, they don't have them as many as they do now. Back then, they don't have. I don't even know if there's any more rats out there. I'm pretty sure there are, but back then they had rats that took care of you. You know, they gave you a ride, they fed you, they did whatever you needed done. You know, they catered to you. Everything you needed, they had it for you, man. Those are good old days of rats. Like, for example, if you didn't have a ride to a town or something, they'd give you a freaking ride. 300 miles, man, give you a freaking ride. You know, and pay for the room. I mean, those were the days that we had good rats, you see. And you had one in every town you went to. Every city you had a rat in it. And I don't know if they do these days, but we did back then, you know. And now I'm good friends with a couple of them to this day, too. Close friends, you know. Good close friends, yeah.
Was that shocking when the place got busted, like later on?
Got busted.
Well, it was like some of the ownership, and there was something
Oh, I wasn't around. I didn't.
You weren't there at that time.
No, I was gone. I was way gone by then. But I didn't even hear about it.
Oh yeah.
No, I didn't know about it. About they got busted and shut down. Now, excuse me. There was a couple other clubs I used to go to called Club Nicky that I used to go to all the time. That was on Metropolitan over here. That got raided and all that. You know, thank God I was already out of there when they did. You know, because I'd go there in limo and pick up a couple broads and tell the limo driver just drive. Drive all over the freaking city and have some fun, you know what I mean? That's how it was back in the old days. I was young and enjoying my life, enjoying my career. So I'm not afraid, I'm not shy about it. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I never was married, so, you know, I could get away with it, you know, but I can understand if a guy was married, he better not tell his wife those stories.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, you've had a hell of a career and it's still going. And man, I really thank you so much for doing this interview. Is there anything else you want to tell the fans before we sign off?
Well, I appreciate you getting with me to do this interview here and letting me, you know, promote my school and talk about my career and how everything was and went and things like that. I enjoy doing these interviews to give some people, fans that are mine, get insight. You know, if they haven't got the genesis of my career, you know, give them a little taste of it. And, you know, if people out there are looking to learn to be a professional wrestler, that they could, you know, scan this QR code here. These are all my former trainees I've trained. And there's a QR code right there. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you right to the message board on my Facebook page and leave a message. We'll definitely get back with you. And we are doing a three-day free trial if you want to come and try out the school first before you decide you want to join. You can also do that as well because I am Total Protection, Mr. Hughes, trainer of champions and superstars. Don't you miss out on this opportunity. I appreciate you having me, no doubt about it.